Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final week of Friday Night Frenzy 2. My name is Falco Flyer, and I am so excited for tonight because we have four amazing teams who are going to be battling it out to see who can be the Friday Night Frenzy champion. But before we get started, let me introduce our co-commentator for tonight. We have Rissa. Rissa, how's it going?
Very good. Really happy it's Friday, and also really happy to be here to commentate this with you, Falco, and watch this. How are you doing tonight, Falco?
I'm doing great, and let me be the first to wish you a happy Halloween. It's Halloween weekend. I'm so excited.
I know, I almost thought about dressing up, but I was like, I don't know.
We would have taken it, but yeah, I thought about that too, and I was like, you know what, I don't really have anything, you know?
Yeah, I thought the same. I was like, wait, don't even have like little cat ears or anything.
Yeah. So before we get started, let's show everybody how we kind of got to this point for Friday Night Frenzy. So our regular season has ended, and every team has played 7 sets against every other team right now. So the top 4 teams that we'll be playing tonight are Kingmaker, who is 7-0, InkSync, who is 5-2, Intimidation Factor, who's 5-2, and Flounder Frights, who is 4-3. So now let us kind of show you the bracket for tonight. So set 1 is going to feature Kingmaker versus Flounder Frights, and set 2 will be InkSync versus Intimidation Factor. In both of these sets, what's going to be different about Friday Night Frenzy? Typically, we've done a play all 3 with predetermined maps and modes, but we are doing best of 5 for both of these semifinals with live counter picks. Rissa, what is your experience with counter picks? I know you're a pretty big comp player, so what kind of goes through your mind when you're deciding the maps and modes that you want to play?
In terms of like thinking about what do you want to pick for a counter pick? I mean, I've seen and experienced myself. There's always like, okay, do we want to pick something that is going to be best for our team? A map and a mode that'll be best for our team, or do we want to pick something that, you know, maybe the other team has like a really specific like weapon that they only play, they're only good at, and think of a map and mode that is bad for that weapon. And we know like you're either going to have to make them play really differently than they do with that weapon that they're so used to playing, because they're going to be playing on a map that isn't really good for it, or or do they have to even switch off their weapon because you're thinking of a counterpick that intensely? So I've seen both ways happen, and a lot of times you just either want to, just think about, okay, maybe as a carbon, as an example, a carbon roller. A carbon roll will be really good on Macomart, no matter what the mode is. And so, just kind of just thinking about, do we want to amplify what we have, or do we want to amplify, some weapon that we can make just have on the other team have a really hard time.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because one of the teams, Kingmaker, they're playing Founder Frights, and Kingmaker, they use a triple brush comp, and they have been doing, they've been doing it pretty much the whole series. I know Flounder Frights knows that, so I'm not spoiling anything for them. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what they choose for that. But let us show you the first set. Again, it's going to be all counter picks except for the very first one, which the first stage in map and mode is going to be Splat Zones on Gobi Arena. Rissa, what are your thoughts about that?
Ooh, Splat Zones on Gobi Arena. Okay, Kingmaker versus Flounder Frights. Man, I feel like Splat Zones is always kind of for one, Splat Zones alone is always a really kind of good neutral pick, because it'll really, showcase the teams with that neutral objective play. But man, if Kingmaker is coming out with triple brush, I can just imagine the flanks. Like, I'm just picturing the flanks happening, whether it's 1 or 2 or all of the brushes just flanking. But in terms of Flounder Frights, I don't really know what comp they run, so I'm really interested to see if they can pick something that'll counter the triple brush.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they did it in week 4. I should probably mention that, all of these teams have played each other already in the season. And when Kingmaker played Founder Frights, it was during week 4. Kingmaker was 3-0 at the time. Flounder Frights, I believe they were 2-1, and Flounder Frights, they won game 1, and I believe it was tower control on New Albacore Hotel. But then games 2 and 3, Kingmaker really showed what they can do best, and that is getting those quick KOs.
Ooh, what have you seen from Flounder Frights in terms of like comps wise? And do they switch it up? Do they usually switch stay with the same thing?
Yeah, so kind of have seen a few different things because with these teams, and we should show their rosters too. They have a little larger roster with a total of about 6 or 7 players that kind of rotate in and out.
Mhm.
But I've seen Matt do a really good job with the Gal. Kiedena plays, I believe, a blaster, and like. I believe that they are definitely going to have a comp that is going to try and counter the triple brush. And I
Mhm.
think every team who has played like later in the season has kind of tried to do that. And I
Mhm.
saw Nightwings do it once, where they had a lot of backline weapons. So like, they had I think a Hydra, they had a Vanilla Pro, which in my opinion, I thought that was a really good idea to try and negate the Ninja Squid that they could potentially use with a brush. So
Mhm.
really, it's gonna be kind of hard to predict, but I think it should be pretty good.
Ooh, that makes it even more exciting. Just like, just knowing like anything can happen in terms of what Flounder Frights might be coming out with in their comps. If they're going to be switching players, there's just like so much variety that could happen, and that just makes it even more exciting to see what is going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is going to be a little different because these teams are used to doing a playoff 3 set. So, best out of 5, we could go to game 5. And if it's anything like we saw earlier in the week, we should have gone to a game 4. And I'm hoping for game 5s. I love a good 2-2, 2-2 game 5 showdown, but we'll see what we get here. And yeah, Gobi Arena, I feel like this has a pretty large zone that you need to cover. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely has a really large zone, and it can be really hard to. I mean, it seems like pretty straightforward, right? The zone's in this big open flat area, but sometimes if you don't have enough paint on it compared to the other team, it can be really hard to cap and then not get picked off in the middle of capping it because, a lot of times if all those specials are thrown in for a push at that zone, I mean, if you're at the wrong spot, you can definitely die and go down in that moment. So, definitely a really big zone that you have to make sure you're approaching really carefully.
Oh yes, absolutely. And there's really like no best or safest way to kind of attack the zone too.
Mhm.
You could go right hoop, you could just go straight down the middle or left slick, but these teams are ready. And let's bring you guys the first match of the playoffs: Kingmaker versus Fond of Frights, game 1 of this semifinal set. And here we go.
Okay, so we're starting out here, and we get to see what comps the teams are going to bring out here. So, as expected, Kingmaker going to have that triple brush going on, but then on the other side, a very shooter-heavy comp coming out. We have a Kensa Pro, a Splash, an Octoshot, and an NSAP. So, just complete opposite of what Kingmaker has.
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive too, and that's a very, very quick armor there by Paolo using the permanent ink brush. But right now, Flounder Frights gets a pretty early cap as Hammer and Paolo are going to try and push over from the right hoop, and they are able to cap the zone. There is one player down now on Flounder Frights, and they're just starting to push left a little more and more. 2 players down now, and Kingmaker has the lead.
Yeah, Kingmaker has the lead, and on Flounder Frights, we are seeing that Inkjet out, trying to stall out the zone as much as they can, maybe get a pick with that Inkjet, but it looks like Paolo's going to do a really great job at calling out Chase there and recognizing that that Inkjet landing was alone. So we're seeing Hosa here using that armor to try and maybe have their teammates follow up with that. We're going to see a bomb rush come out as well from Flounder Frights, and they're going to try everything they can to get this zone, but they do have to play this really carefully with those bubbles coming out from Bob. You got to be careful when there's bubbles out like that.
You really do, and I mean, especially when you have the help of the brushes, just taking this. Ooh, there are 3 players down now. Taking the zone too, it can be really hard. Maddie's gonna go up and try and flank, gonna give some beacons for their team, gonna wait for the rest of his team to kind of come back before he pushes in. It's gonna be really smart. Probably build up a special, build up some Tenta missiles, and right now he is spotted, but this Kingmaker team is trying to push in now. One of them goes down, 2 of them go down, but Maddie does take down 1 player, and Maddie's gonna be jumping in. Can they take the zone? Let's see. Unfortunately, no. Maddie's gonna go down as Fond of Frights now takes the lead and has a pretty good map control.
Wow, this is just showing this wide open zone is making it really difficult for these brushes to be able to push in. I mean, with these shooters just guarding the zone, they're making it that much more difficult for these brushes to even be safely come in. And now with 5 points remaining here, 2 down on the side of Flounder Frights, Kingmaker has to come in and at least neutralize the zone.
Can Crow get it? Can Crow
As
get
they
it?
were doing it.
Oh!
Oh my gosh.
And Crow is able to get it for the win, giving Fonda Frights the win for game 1.
What a crazy turn of events. I mean, as soon as, what was that, 3 went down on the side of Kingmaker, we saw Maddie back up, which was a really smart move from Maddie. But I mean, they just couldn't get the specials ready in time to be able to come back into the zone because the counter specials from Flounder Frights were really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, what a dominant performance by their team. But I'm telling you, once they were able to just kind of spot all of the Kingmaker players, they really knew what they were doing and could just push up, kind of prevent anybody from dropping down and even taking the zone. And Crow there, that is Matt from the roster that we showed, did just a really, really good job trying to cover the zone at the very end, and it managed to work.
Yeah, it really did. I think that really, really showcased, like, I was kind of, picturing it before this started, but I mean, Gobi zones, it's that wide open zone that is right there in the middle, but if you're not painting it and have enough paint on it, it can be so difficult to cap. And, 3 brushes trying to do that definitely showed to be really difficult compared to the shooter comp.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I like the comp that Fonda Frights had, and I mean I'm sure they did too, obviously, because it worked, and that was probably a quicker KO than what they were expecting to.
Yeah, I think so. And I also really liked in terms of, I mean, it happened so fast, but Flounder Frights like counter specials I think were really good. They had armor ready, and then they had the Booyah Bomb ready, and they were just, I also like too that they didn't push up too far. They just kind of knew that they needed to just hold zone, they would get the lead, and then they didn't only just do that, but they also just made sure to completely KO it.
Yeah, absolutely. And now let's see the counter pick from Kingmaker. They are choosing Muscleforge Clam Blitz. Ooh, this is this one, I think it was in the solo rotation this month, but man, it's a brutal one, I think.
Clam Blitz Muscleforge, definitely a brutal one. I mean, just, it's like the flanks that come into this is where I can see the triple brush comp really paying off here, and especially paired with Bob's Kensa Jr. bubbles. If they can get those flanks in, like just timed perfectly and just be annoying brushes, I could see that playing out really well for them.
Yeah, and I'll say Kingmaker really has excelled during Clam Blitz. There were quite a few matches where I believe they had a 1-push KO. So
wow.
Obviously they're, going to go for that again if they can. But again, what's really hard about this stage too is if you drop down from the basket, it's so hard to kind of recover and push back up and get players who are flanking.
Yeah, you have to be really careful when you're dropping down, and not only not worry about not dying, but like you said, you have to watch those flanks because there's those 2 different entry points to the basket, but they can be really detrimental if you're not paying attention to them.
Absolutely, and our teams are ready again, and it looks like Kingmaker's still sticking with the same comp, and I believe it's almost the same comp for Flounder Frights. I don't know if they had a squeezer there before. But
yeah, it looks like one main switch up is the squeezer. So in the last match they had the Kensa Pro.
Okay, had the K Pro. So yeah, just maybe a little more range, which is going to be nice for kind of a stage where players could be flanking from all over the place. But right now 2 players are down on Fonda Frights, and it looks like Kingmaker is going to be trying to gather some clans to potentially score. Bob is going to throw some claims of Powell. Powell goes down, was going to try and baller, had a power clam, and oh man, Hammer's going to be trying to inkjet just to keep that clam visible for them, but unfortunately that power clam is now going to go away, as that unfortunately was a missed opportunity for Kingmaker.
Yeah, Kingmaker had a really great setup there. They had 2 down, they had the bubbles and the inkjet at the ready, but the defense from Flounder Frights was really impressive. They just stayed back, didn't drop down. We were talking about that drop down, and they just kind of waited out what Kingmaker had going, and then they just were able to easily get the picks. But right now, as we're talking about that, the splash on the side of Flounder Frights does go down, as Flounder Frights has been doing a really good job at holding mid, and it's just gonna be this Quesadilla here with this clam. As the rest of their teammates are down, they're gonna have to regroup. Kingmaker's doing a really great job at getting their clams and getting another push, trying to get another push in.
Yeah, unfortunately, Paolo, kind of the same thing that happened last time, had a power clam, or had their baller special, but, you know, it unfortunately went away, and that clam just, it got so close, and, man, they're eager to score. I feel like they really want these quick pushes, but right now, it's, on the side of Flounder Frights, it's really working out for them. A very nice pick there by Quesadilla. Going to be trying to spot the brush player. Crow's going to be taking them down. And it looks like we have 2 power claims that are going to be flanking up the side. Can they store? Hammer is there stopping them. Bob is also there stopping them. This is an all ambush towards this Kingmaker basket.
Yeah, we can see Quesadilla and Crow having those 2 power clams. They are very... oh my gosh, this little flank on the side. I didn't see who that was, but they did get that power climb in, and now...
That's a wipe there.
Yeah, a complete wipe on Flounder Frights. They did get essentially two power clam points in, so they have a nice lead in the first 2 minutes of this.
Yeah, they do. 2 power claims, you know, you ideally want to get 2 plus 1 or so, but, you know, at this point, we have less than half of the time remaining, so they will absolutely take any points that they can get. But, man, this match is a stalemate. 2 specials are ready on the side of Kingmaker. Bob's going to be pushing up the bubbles. Ooh, but it looks like they popped just a little too early, but Paolo's now going to be going up the side, but is now still spotted. Paolo now going to use the baller. Bob is also pushing up. Bob goes down. Can Paolo stay alive to get the claim? And no, they can't. Hammer and Maddie's there. Maddie is going to score 1. Can they get the second one? Is it going to go in? Yes, and now Kingmaker has the lead and a near team wipe.
Okay, and we're seeing jump-ins. Bob's gonna jump in here. We still see clams coming in from Maddie, Hammer, and Bob, and we see another power clam come in from Paolo. What a great jump in, and this was exactly what I was talking about, how these brushes can, you know, almost act as distractions for each other, and the way they can move so fast up to the basket. That was a beautiful, beautiful example of how that can play out really well. And the 3 brushes, man, they played that so well, and they got crazy points. So now, in the last minute of this match, it's going to be up to Flounder Frights to get a big push in.
It is, and they had all 4 of their specials ready. Unfortunately, one of them go down. Hosoke is now going to be pushing up the side, but now goes down. Just a squeezer alive with their special. Now they're going to go down too, but not going down without a trade, and this is going to be really hard for Flounder Frights to recover from, as Kingmaker is now taking more control of mid and gathering more clams. And Maddie with a nice assist there. I think it was Bob who got the kill, but this one, if you're Kingmaker, you just got to play so conservatively. You know, you just want to, you don't need to push up too far, you don't need to try anything crazy, you just want to protect mid.
Yeah, as Maddie kind of pushed up, you know, maybe tried to get that little pick, but was called out for that. So right now, as we're going into the last 30 seconds of this match, a lot of kind of, like you said earlier, a stalemate back and forth. Flounder Frights needs to get a power climb in if they want to even have a chance at winning this. They do have a good start, as they have 2 down on the side of Kingmaker. That's 3 down now on the side of Kingmaker. It's just Bob up in mid as he's waiting for his teammates to come in. Hammer does come into mid too, but is called out. So on the side of Flounder Frights, though, as we're going into the last 10 seconds of this, they do need to make a power clam. You can see that finally they do get a power clam, and now Quesadilla here is trying to help their teammates start a push.
Yeah, they are. Now we reach overtime. 2 power claims are there, but unfortunately just 2 players alive. Quesadilla is going to be pushing in. Can Bob get him in time? Quesadilla using their special, but then goes down. Can they push up? Chase is now going to score, breaking the barrier, keeping this match alive for Flounder Frights. 2 players are down, and it looks like the rest of Kingmaker team is pushing up. It's going to be really hard for Flounder Frights to continue the score, and this match is going to go to Kingmaker.
What a great in terms of, you know, as there's counter picks for this, what a great counter pick for Kingmaker. I mean, it really showed through. Their comp played really well on this, and even if, you know, one of them would go around, like we saw Paolo try and flank around with a power clam, he did get called out and did get splatted there, but their teammates were right there to follow up and just score in all that huge push that we saw, the power clams, and then just continuous clams in, the jump ins with the clams. I mean, it seemed like they really had that counter pick down.
Yeah, they did. They knew what they were doing, and kind of what you said at the beginning of the match or before it even started. You're like, okay, this one can be dangerous if you're facing some brushes, because there's just a lot of opportunity for them, and they really showed it. You know, the beginning of that match was, again, just kind of a stalemate, but Kingmaker doing what they do best and just working so well together to get a big lead, and they were able to hold on to it, and I think that was key too.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to make. You know, you do get a really big lead, but it's like Clam Blitz and Rainmaker especially, like, I feel like those are the two modes where if you're not watching it, if you're not on your defense, even though you have like a huge lead like that, anything can happen. So I think that's really important to highlight too, that Kingmaker got that huge lead, but they also defended it and didn't let Flounder Frights get a bigger lead than them.
Yes, absolutely. And now Flounder Frights is going to have the opportunity to choose their map and mode combo. We'll see what they choose. Will it be something like completely different than Muscle Forge Clan Blitz? I'm thinking so. And let's actually reveal that right now. It looks like we have Tower Control on Anchovy Games.
Ooh, Tower Control on Anchovy Games. I'm like trying to think. I'm thinking right now about, you know, in terms of how this is their counter pick. You know, maybe we're gonna have to see. Like, I don't know. Our brush is gonna be kind of hindered on this map and mode. I could definitely see that being a potential, but you know, having someone like Hammer, who's really good at Inkjet, and this Anchovy Games is definitely known for being like an Inkjet map, so I could see them being really good on that. But and on the other side, maybe Flounder Frights is just really comfortable with this map and mode. Maybe they have a game plan, and maybe they know exactly how they want to execute this.
Yeah, that's a good point. And while I should show everybody what the map pool looks like, because I don't think we've done that yet. But basically, the players, they can choose between any of these maps that are shown on stream. These are all map mode combos that have appeared on Friday Night Frenzy so far. So really, the only rule is that you can't choose the game that you just played, and you can't choose the same map mode combo that you already won during that set. So for instance, you know, Kingmaker could not choose Muscle Forge Fitness Clan Blitz because they already won there. So there's about 5 or 6 maps for all these modes, and you know, it does give you a chance to kind of, you know, see what works against the team that you're playing. And these players have had time to practice these maps and modes too, so I don't know if this is something that they did in particular, but our teams are ready. So let's bring you game 3, Kingmaker versus Flounder Frights. Winner will move on to being one step closer to the finals. Almost said to the finals. Not quite there yet, but here we go.
Okay, so we're seeing that each team come out here, and ooh, I'm seeing definitely on a big weapon switch up on the side of Flounder Fights. We're seeing that custom Jet Squelcher, the Kensa Pro is back, and then we are seeing a Kensa Splatter Shot, which I think is a great pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Jet Squelcher is going to be really nice here too. Having the elevation to kind of being able to spot brushes and maybe get some drop shots on them is going to be key. Right now, 2 specials are ready on both teams. Hosoke going to be using a Ray. Now we have a 3v3, 2v3, as Hosoke might be getting towards a tower, but is going to be caught, it looks like, by Maddie, and then Maddie's going to go down. 2-on-2, Paolo versus Quesadilla. Maddie is now going to drop, trying to chase Quesadilla, but Quesadilla now is going to be booyah bombing, throwing it towards the tower as this Kingmaker team approaches their checkpoint.
Yeah, Kingmaker was really easily able to take the tower there and start pushing it, and that actually forced Quesadilla to have to jump out. Quesadilla knew that they needed to regroup with their teammates because their teammates are all coming from spawn, and Kingmaker already passed that first checkpoint, and there's Hammer in that Inkjet, kind of like I was mentioning. Inkjet is so good on this, and really beautifully followed by the bubbles from Bob and the missiles from Maddie. This is quite the force to be coming at when you're coming from spawn.
It really is, and I mean, Kingmakers, they're still on the tower, and you know, just trying to get past the second checkpoint. I guess they did, and man, they are sitting in a pretty good position now to really kind of extend their lead, especially since they have a lot of map control. Hammer was still alive over there for most of that duration, but again, Kingmaker now back on the tower as we see Bob riding it, takes it back up kind of to where that second checkpoint was, and is going to be using the bubbler too to try and push up, pop some of these bubbles, but is then going to go down.
Yeah, I like the premise of using those bubbles ahead of tower to maybe push back Flounder Frights, but really, really good call out from Flounder Frights. And right now, as Flounder Frights is starting to push up, they're getting, they got a trade off, and they're having a really difficult time getting their, this is called the street area. So they're having a really difficult time getting that cleared. So once they can get that cleared, get these fans cleared, maybe, you know, they can get into mid, but with brushes just kind of sneaking up on them constantly, it's looking a little bit difficult for them.
It really is, and it's going to be hard because, like, it's so hard to get up on this top part up here, as Paolo does with the baller, but let's see if they can stay alive now. Ooh, really going to be pushing up against these missiles, and then going to have to back out for just a second, but two specials already, again, on the side of Flounder Frights. Can they be able to take the tower and push up a little bit? Let's see, as they're trying to take down Paolo 2v1. Paolo's now going to go down as Hosuke is now on the tower, giving Flounder Frights a push for the first time. 3 players down.
Yeah, it looks like it's just Hammer up in this Inkjet, trying to stay alive, trying to stall out this Inkjet, but with the Booyah Bomb on that Inkjet landing, all the shots, Hosuke is going to get that pick on Hammer, and as finally Flounder Frights is able to get past this first checkpoint, they have to be really careful and play this really safely, as these brushes could just be flying out of anywhere. Yeah,
and like you said, Hosuke had to change directions of the ray because these brushes were really coming out of nowhere, you know, is now going to go down to Hammer, as Hammer's going to be pushing up. Hammer is then now going to go down to Chase, who gets on the tower, but that is a lead for Flounder Frights.
What a great lead from Flounder Frights. I mean, and right now they do have advantage. They are going to keep pushing the tower, and I love that they have these jump-ins continuing. That's something that's really detrimental to continuing your push. They have this pain around. You could see Hosuke is probably trying to get that Stingray ready, and Hosuke does have the Stingray ready, is going to use that to just continue the push. We're seeing points going down from Flounder Frights. It's just Bob up left for Kingmaker, and just like that, it looks like they are going to be able to dunk the tower and KO that, and they are going to take game 3.
Yeah, Flounder Frights takes game 3. Very impressive performance there. The first half was all Kingmaker, but Flounder Frights really, really did a great job pushing up and getting that win.
Yeah, oh my gosh, look at the kill count from Flounder Frights there. That was impressive. They were, I felt like Kingmaker got a really, really strong starting push, but as soon as Flounder Frights got their momentum, they were doing a really good job at just continuing specials, continuing jump-ins, and they were doing everything right. It felt like we saw them trying to build up the Stingray. I just felt like they were playing that really well, and they were also recognizing too how to, like, it almost felt like there was a switch that turned on in the middle of that match where they recognized how to, you know, back up and actually be able to counter the brushes and use their range to their advantage to kill them.
You know, I was going to kind of say that too, because once Flounder Frights really found out how can we best work with our Stingray, I think that is where things changed. They were able to put Kingmaker kind of in a position that was so hard to escape. You kind of like gravitate them towards the Ray. Ray's going to give them chip damage, and then the rest of Flounder Frights can kind of come in and get a nice kill. But yeah, it was very, very good.
Yeah, and Kingmaker, like, they were doing that kind of like chaotic tactic where even if one of them was down, they like another one would just push up, and then they would follow up that and keep jumping in, and it was actually working out really well for them. But it seemed like we were just talking about in the middle of that match, like something clicked for Flounder Frights, and they recognized how to counteract that and just wait a second, let the brushes kind of get the picks on the brushes to counteract that.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I believe Kingmaker has their counter pick ready. So let's see what they chose. They have Clam Blitz on Sturgeon Shipyard. And
Ooh.
I like this pick, but we can definitely see the direction that this Kingmaker team is going in. I mean, hey, if you win in Clan Blitz in one game, might as well try it in a future one, right?
Yeah. And both of the teams readied up so fast, so they are ready to go, ready to do this. And I think that definitely Kingmaker, though, Clan Blitz is their comfort pick. They know how they play it. They know how they want to play it. And we are going to be going into this game. What is this? 4.
This one's 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember, Flounder Frights wins this, then they will win the set, knocking off Kingmaker too. So this really is do or die time for Kingmaker. But right now, the same exact weapons that we saw during Game 2, I believe. Or, yeah.
Yeah, this is the
same exact thing.
Yeah, the Game 2 comp coming back here. Similar to what we saw from that game, and right away, as we're seeing both teams here trying to get control of mid, actually 20 power clams already on, 20 clams already on the side of Flounder Frights, but even though they have all those clams, look at this mid control that Kingmaker has taken.
Yeah, and Hammer is going to be a really nice shark there and just kind of wait to get one of the players from Flounder Frights who was pushing up, and Hammer is going to get a nice double there too. Just one player alive, but is now going to go down to a bomb there by Quesadilla. Quesadilla holding the power clam. It's so hard to just hold a power clam like when you're in mid, because you are a target at that point. You know, you are just like a sitting duck, and everybody's going to be going towards you.
Ooh, we're seeing Paolo use this baller to try and go in and get jump-ins under the basket. Paolo does get a trade-off with that, but it doesn't look like they really have any teammates there to follow up with that. Definitely a nice idea for a play to happen, though. And as they did that, it's just going to be Hammer up left on the side of Kingmaker. We're seeing their teammates jump in behind them, though, to try and continue that chaotic way they like to push and just add aggression going on. But I think that, wow, Flounder Frights is doing such a good job at recognizing that and recognizing when they need to stall out and wait for Kingmaker to kind of play out that chaotic tactic that they do.
They really are. Like 24 clams on the side of Flounder Frights with 3 specials. You know, they don't really have the map control right now, but that is such a scary position to be in, as a few of these Flounder Frights players are now going to go down. It's going to be really hard for them to maintain and keep this map control, but players from Kingmaker are now going to be pushing up, and it looks like they do have a power clam that is kind of on their way too. How long can Flounder Frights hold on to this? Let's see.
Yeah, let's see here. Right now, Flounder Frights is just having to continue this defense. We're seeing Quesadilla here holding this power clam, and even though, like you said, they are a target, they're doing a really good job at like stalling out, using the range to their advantage, and Quesadilla is gonna have that extra bubble come in and help their teammates get a push in, so they did get 2 power clams in.
Oh my goodness, and, yeah.
Wow, yeah, they got those 2 power clams in, but they did get wiped in the process. So all that waiting, it was about 2 minutes of waiting. They got the 2 power clams in, but that was a complete wipe. So Kingmaker, if Kingmaker wants to take advantage of this, they're going to have to act really fast.
They really are. Again, just 2 minutes left, and they're going to need to score. But what we saw in Game 2, they were able to really make a good push when they were ready to score. I believe they got all the way down to, what was that, like 30-something? Paolo's now going to be balling in, and that's smart to kind of go up the top. You don't want to be right under the basket, right by the basket, especially when you're brush. You're able to score, so that's going to be in. There is going to be jump. Can Matta get that power claim in? They can, but it looks like just 2 players alive on Kingmaker, and they're probably not going to get to the basket in time. Can Bob get there? No, Bob can't get there, and that is going to give a 1-point lead to Flounder Frights. Oh, that is so hard.
That is so hard, and man, even though, you know, Kingmaker didn't necessarily get the lead there, I think it was really good that they got the points more even, so that way, in going into the last minute of this match, it feels just like anything can happen, especially, you know, as right now it's a 3v3 right now, and it looks like, I think that was Hammer on the side of Flounder Frights' spinner area. They're just holding that really well and making it kind of difficult for Flounder Frights to even get into mid.
Yeah, and that was such a so close push by Kingmaker, but there were a few players who were down. I guess Bob is the only one alive now too. This that was a really hard reset for Kingmaker, and kind of a missed opportunity there. But now players from Flounder Frights are going to be pushing up, and it's going to be really, really hard for Kingmaker at this point.
Well, yeah, we're going into the last 40 seconds of this. Kingmaker has to make a power clam and also be able to push into mid. I mean, look at this mid control that Flounder Frights has right now. We're seeing specials come out. There's two down on the side of King Ray right now. And Quesadilla leading that charge, getting that power clam in. And there's a few more clams coming in from the side of Flounder Frights right now. 3 down on the side of Kingmaker. I mean, Maddie's here trying to defend the basket alone, but is called out as well. So Quesadilla and Crow here under the basket, just doing such a good job at holding this area.
They really are, and now they keep scoring. Flounder Frights, they're just keeping this basket open, and if they can do it for just 7 more seconds, they will take the win because 2 players from Kingmaker are down. Is this going to be the game? Is Kingmaker going to lose a set? And it looks like they are. Flounder Frights gets the win and moves on to the finals.
Wow, we didn't even get to go to a game 5. Flounder Frights, I felt like they adapted so well to recognizing how to counter Kingmaker, and they did such a good job. It really showed through, and especially in that last game. I mean, look at that KA. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that really worked out for Flounder Frights. And I mean, you took down the only undefeated team in Friday Night Frenzy, and that was absolutely crazy. Congratulations to Flounder Frights, but that is not going to be the end of Kingmaker's journey because they will be playing in the bronze match after set 2 that will be coming up very shortly. So, yeah, Flounder Frights, I would say they were definitely the underdog in that match, and they were able to win the set 3-1. That was a pretty impressive set, Rissa. What do you think?
That was really impressive, and especially, like, the mental game of that, like, going into knowing that you're playing the team that's 7-0, right, undefeated. The mental game of that can be really kind of scary sometimes. So I think that's really important to factor in of how well Flounder Frights didn't let that phase them, and they did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, when Kingmaker and Flounder Frights played earlier this season, they were tied 1-1, and it did go to game 3. But of course, it was Clam Blitz, which Kingmaker they've done very well in Clam Blitz, and they are going to be a tough team to beat in bronze. So I know this InkSync team and Intimidation Factor team like, we thought you guys were going to finals. Now it's like we're scared to go to the finals and we're scared to go to bronze. So we don't. We're in a pickle here.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. Thinking about the mental game of that, like, okay, if we go to finals, it's scary there, but if we go to the bronze bracket, it's scary there also. You know, this team that's been 7-0 the whole time in this league. So that's funny to think about. I didn't even think about it from that point of view.
Oh yeah. And coming up next, we have our 2-5-2 teams. It will be Intimidation Factor versus InkSync, and these two teams, they are very good. When they played, InkSync swept 3-0, but I believe all of these matches were very, very close. So I'm excited to see this. InkSync last played Kingmaker. It was a very, very competitive final set of the regular season because it was Kingmaker versus InkSync, and the winner was going to be the #1 seed. So, InkSync kind of coming off of a loss, but they know that anything's possible. Oh, and InkSync, yeah, that is the wrong logo. I just realized that too. Let's grab the correct logo. Yeah, they're now the Wiggly Phantoms, and apparently.
It feels like the Wiggly Phantoms are everywhere.
Yeah, I know. We'll get that right logo figured out.
Man, oh, okay, honestly, I don't really know too much about either of these teams, but going into this, just seeing that each of them is 5-2, that's something that I feel like is going to be really exciting, because that just really shows how close in this league that these teams have been, and how, even they almost can be as we go into this.
Yeah, that is a good point. Okay, I think we got the logo fixed now, but unfortunately, I don't know if it will update on my future overlays in the set, but that's a problem we'll worry about later. So again, these didn't update. That's fine. They want to be they would love to be the Wiggly Phantoms. I mean, I want to be the Wiggly Phantoms. Let's be real.
I want to be the Wiggly Phantoms.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, game 1 here is going to be the same map and mode that we saw in set 1. It's going to be Splat Zones on Gobi Arena. Again, these teams do have their counter picks that they can choose from. So we'll see what they choose there when they're ready. And I'll try and fix the logo for now. I know at least everyone in chat appreciates it. At least it's the Wiggly Phantoms, right?
At least it's the Wiggly Phantoms. The crowd loves them.
Absolutely.
So as we go into this, there's something about, like, I'm not too familiar with Ink Sync or Intimidation Factor, like what comps they run. So as going into this, I think it's really exciting for me. I love seeing team comps as they come out when I'm not familiar with them, and seeing what they run, and then getting to see how they play them throughout the match. Something about that's going to be really cool to watch. And then especially as we saw the last two teams play on Gobi Ink's zones already. I mean, we kind of saw how that match went, so it's going to be really cool to see another set of teams come into this and see how they play it.
That's a good point. And our teams are now, they're readying up. They're choosing their weapons, I believe, and I think we might have the right logo. Let's figure this out. Let's see if it updates. It updated. All right, we're good. We're good. Thank you, Imgur and Google Sheets, for helping me out with that. And our teams are ready. After all that, our teams are now ready to move on to their game. So let us bring you the first match between InkSync and Intimidation Factor. Again, we are playing on Splat Zone's Gobi Arena. Let's go.
All right, so seeing both of the teams come out here. Okay, I love that I'm seeing each team has a heavy remix. That's the first thing my eyes went to. Each team has a junior. And then aside from that, we're seeing dualies on one side, which I think is really interesting. And then on the other side, a Kenta machine. You know, not weapons that we're used to seeing, but I'm excited to see how they play here.
Yeah, I am too, and it's going to be definitely a different pace than what we saw with the Kingmaker Flounder Frights matchup. But again, you know, heavy remix on both sides, it's... I don't see that very often. Definitely double junior on both sides, very, very common. But right now, InkSync has a slight early lead. Intimidation Factor going to try and be pushing up. We are going to be seeing a Booyah Bomb, and it looks like the cap is not going to quite work just yet. But right now, there are two players down in InkSync as members of Intimidation Factor push up and are able to get the zone and really take over this map and get a lot of map control.
I love that Intimidation Factor didn't try and just panic and get the zone. They got the picks first, and then they got the zone, because playing patient like that can play out really well for them. We're seeing Arwen and Mask here just teaming up together, doing a really good job at getting picks. Unfortunately, Arwen, though, gonna get called out by Guigus in that splashdown. And with that pick, let's see if InkSync can take advantage of that and try and push in and get the zone for themselves.
Yeah, they're trying to do it right now as Guigus is going to be pushing up, but is now going to be spotted, and man, it is so hard to shred armor from at times, and InkSync now has the zone and are able to get rid of their penalty points, but they gotta watch for this Booyah Bomb. Are they able to shred it? The Booyah Bomb goes off, but they're able to splat the player, and now InkSync, their main goal is just to take the lead right here. They don't have a ton of map control, but a point sensor from Guigus is really going to help them here, as they're still trying to push up to take the lead, but unfortunately for them, Intimidation Factor caps.
Yeah, Intimidation Factor does cap, but InkSync here finally able to follow up and get the zone for themselves. Trell doing a good job at pushing up, getting a pick along with that. And now with only 8-point penalty right now, they can be really close to getting the lead. Trell gonna use those missiles to push back anyone else who's pushing in, and does get that pick on Zenala, followed with the rain from their teammate. That is gonna allow InkSync to get the lead. Trell here doing a really good job at just being really kind of annoying and just aggressive here on the right side. Does get one pick on Mask, and it looks like their teammate was able to follow up and get that second pick.
Yeah, I really like what Trell did, which was basically hug the wall, and that's going to make it so hard for this Intimidation Factor team to kind of splat them, because then you can, when you're hugging the wall, you can kind of just recover your ink. You're really hard to be seen, and then you can kind of shoot up when anybody's looking down. But InkSync was so close to getting that win, as they had the zone, had their points all the way down to 4, but then lost it, giving them 56 penalty points. We have about 2 minutes left, and right now we have seen quite a bit of back and forth, but map control just goes both ways, and really there hasn't been a team that has really seemed to get all of it so far.
That's a really good point. Neither team has necessarily got all the sides painted, all that pressure and map control that comes along with that. I mean, we do keep seeing the zone swap back and forth. Right now, You know, the zone has swapped yet again, and 2 down right now on the side of InkSync here. Mask doing a really good job at backing up, allowing themselves to get that pick and just not die in that moment. So let's see if finally, you know, Intimidation Factor can paint up and get the zone. We're seeing Mask use this bomb rush. Woo, really nice. I thought that was the junior bomb for a second, but it looks like it was Gugas who got that.
Yeah, it was Gugas who got it. That was a really lucky shot, but those drip shots, when you're so weak, can just do a whole lot of damage too. And now Intimidation Factor going to be losing the zone. InkSync has it with 2 players down on Intimidation Factor. They seem to get more and more map control and are getting more comfortable with their lockouts, but these Splatlings are really going head to head, and I love to see it.
I know, I love to see this too. This is not something that's, you know, quote unquote in the meta heavy remix, and I'm loving seeing how they're going head to head like this. So we're going into the last 40 seconds of this match here. InkSync is doing everything they can to guard their zone. The Booyah Bomb came out at Gugas here, but guess what? Gugas has a Booyah Bomb right back at them. And right now each team, I didn't even see what happened there so fast, but immediately 3 down on the side of InkSync. So it's going to be up to Intimidation Factor here in the last 30 seconds of this to hold the zone and get the lead. They have a 20-point penalty that they need to break through, plus their 34 points.
Yeah, this game will likely go into overtime if they want to try and take the lead. And they do have quite a bit of map control right now too, but with these missiles coming in, they want to be careful not to cross paths and really damage each other with the missiles. But now they get rid of their penalty points. But we see a Booyah Bomb coming in near the end, and InkSync is able to win this match.
Man, that was so back and forth. It felt like, you know, even though InkSync had like a decently bigger lead, I mean, it felt like the zone kept swapping back and forth constantly. It was just happening so fast, and I felt like even though InkSync had that like decently sized lead, it still felt really, really back and forth.
It did, and yeah, InkSync able to get the win there, and like you said, really back and forth between these 2 teams, and I think it's going to make for a really, really good set. What do you think?
I think it is too, and that makes me really interested at what their counter picks are going to be. You know, and if we're going to see the remixes come back, or just heavies Splatlings in general, because I feel like it's generally like if you're going to go backline, it's always like a Jet Squelcher or a Splatter Scope, a Charger, you know. So that makes me really excited that we get to see something that's not necessarily meta, that we get to see, you know, 2 heavies, and that's cool to see if that continues throughout this set.
Yeah, I agree. I'd be impressed if they were to use the heavy remixes throughout the entire set. I think both of these teams kind of knew, okay, Splat Zone's Gobi, we do want to have a pretty good backline, so we want to head in that direction. But again, with these counter picks, anything's possible.
And yeah, anything.
Yeah, they do have the map and mode ready, so let's see what they chose. And let us populate that for you guys. They are going to be choosing... It didn't want to load. But they are going to be choosing Mako Mart Tower Control. Oh, I know what I did. That makes sense. There we go. Mako Mart Tower Control. Let's do that again. There we go. Now the suspense is over.
The suspense of it all.
Yes. Yeah, and first time seeing Mako, and a lot of people would prefer it to be zones because that's kind of the creme de la creme of competitive Splatoon. But Tower Control Mako, how is it going to be different than, say, Anchovy games that we saw? Rissa, what are your thoughts?
That's a good point. I could see it being, you know, kind of similar from Anchovy games that we saw in the previous set that we got to watch on stream. You know, this is definitely another one of those maps that can be really, really good for Inkjet map and mode together. So, and it could spiral if one of the teams or the other does have their specials ready, like we previously saw for Tower Control. So as we're seeing the comps come out, some really, really big weapon switch-ups. I love to see it. On the side of Intimidation Factor, we see a Splat Roller. We're seeing both teams have a Splatter Scope, and then actually InkSync having a Nautilus come out.
That's right. Now 2 players are going to go down on Intimidation Factor. 3 players are going to go down. I love the double charger. I'm waiting. We have to see them snipe each other. That just has to happen if you're 2 chargers. But right now they're going to get past this first checkpoint pretty quickly, as Trell's now going to be pushing up. And oh, what a very nice kill there. But man, this InkSync team, they are ready to push up and try and get a quick KO. But right now Jimmy's alone, going to have to kind of back out just a little bit, allowing, I believe, Kay, who would be playing the Dapples. And here's the Charger 1v1 I wanted. Scrub versus Jimmy. But Tower getting all the way to 30 pretty early. That's a pretty good lead.
That was a really good lead, and I love that Jimmy was the last one up there, but stayed on the tower just a little bit to get past that second checkpoint. That can be so important later on in the match, so I think that was really smart of Jimmy. Now, with InkSync having to back up, we see Intimidation Factor pushing up pretty much through mid here, and Zendala doing a good job at doing exactly what rollers do best on this match, sharking on this left side, sharking these ledges. That can be really, really important. And you can see that Jimmy and Trell are just having to focus on trying to get Zendala out of there. And Zendala said, nope, I'm going to just keep doing roller things over here on this left side, get a pick on Trell, and their teammates followed up and got another pick. So now, finally, Intimidation Factor able to take the tower and start getting points on the board.
Yeah, they are, and it looks like who was on the tower? I think Zendala was on the tower, but getting to 87, not quite where you want it, not quite the first checkpoint, but at this point you kind of take any points you can get. 2 minutes into the match, you don't have a ton of time to lurk with. Zendala with a very nice pick, and is now going to get on the tower with the rest of their teammates really doing a good job pushing up and using specials too.
Doing a really good job at using those specials to push up and pushing up really carefully. I think that's important to note. But, even though we didn't get to see it from this point of view, 2 down right now on the side of Intimidation Factor as they were starting to push the tower. So just kind of a bloodbath right now as one team or the other is trying to get a push in, trying to get defense going. And what a great snipe there from Jimmy, but Jimmy was immediately called out. So just kind of a continuous bloodbath of stalling out here in mid. One team or the other can't really get a push going. We're going to have to see what happens.
Yeah, Trell with a nice pick on Scrub as they were going to try and jump out. But again, these, kind of trades over and over again, that only favors the winning team. So if you're InkSync, you could be like, okay, we'll do this all day, any day. We'll take trades. We have the lead. 30's pretty comfortable. And they're actually about to extend it, too. Trell's now going to hop on the tower and try and avoid the charger as they're unfortunately going to go down. But again, we switched to new person and all these trades back and forth.
That's really important to note too, what you said. Like, even though there's trades happening back and forth, InkSync, the more they push the tower on the side of Intimidation Factor's side, the harder it is for Intimidation Factor to even be able to get into mid and set up for a push of their own. Oh, I thought that was the Chargers trade-off that you were looking for, but not quite.
Yeah, it was Kay who was able to do some good work, but right now it looks like the rest of InkSync able to kind of push up and take this tower to maybe get it past 29. We'll see. Right now, Trell gets back on the tower, gonna be hopping off the tower again. They don't really need to push it, but if they can get the tower pretty much as far away from mid, that's only going to help them. But you don't want to do it if all of your players are going to go down,
Yeah, definitely. You want to still make sure that you're holding that mid control. Just kind of, I call it juggling the tower, just juggling it, making it so it's difficult for the other team to be able to even get to the tower. And that's exactly what we've been seeing InkSync do a really good job at doing. So both teams right now do have their Stingrays ready, but Gugus did a great job at getting Scrub there. So 2 down right now on the side of Intimidation Factor, and InkSync is just doing such a dominating job at just holding mid, juggling the tower around mid, around the first and second checkpoint, and just making it so difficult for Intimidation Factor.
That's right. The map control from InkSync is really working for them, and as soon as they see one part not painted, they know to just ambush that side. But that being said, 3 players were down on the side of InkSync. This will be Intimidation Factor's chance to kind of push up, as Scrub is going to be using a Ray. Arwen is there to support, Zendala is there to support, but now here comes the counter Ray against the tower. Can members of Intimidation Factor stay alive? Mask is now going to get on the tower, but is going to go down. InkSync wins game 2.
So smart of Jimmy to have that, as we call it, the GG Ray ready. That was perfectly played because Intimidation Factor was getting a little bit of a push going, and that could have easily spiraled out of control. But Jimmy coming on clutch there with that GG Ray ready and just making it so Intimidation Factor couldn't push the tower past that first checkpoint.
Yeah, and it was so hard, but again, that early lead by InkSync just helped so much. Getting all the way to 30 in the first minute or so, that puts you in a very, very good position. And again, they were kind of able to just go back and forth. They could afford that to give them the win. And, you know, they pushed up when they could. They were able to play more defensive when they needed to. And it's hard at the very end, you know, when you're Intimidation Factor, because you need to do everything you possibly can to get onto that tower.
Yeah, that's one of those like do or die moments where, okay, we know we need to get on tower. We know we need to stay alive. We know we need to have specials to get a push going. But just the way that InkSync was doing a good job at holding mid and then just being aware of like what positions they needed to stay in, whether they needed to push up or they just needed to hold positions. They were just doing such a good job at recognizing those things.
Absolutely. And now with your Intimidation Factor, you're thinking, okay, if we want to win the set, we got to get a reverse sweep. So Splat Zones Gobi Arena didn't quite work out. Tower Control Mako Mart didn't quite work out. But those maps and modes seem so different from each other based on the comps. I think like at least 3 of the 4 team members changed their weapons. And I don't know if we'll see a Claim Blitz or a Rainmaker for the first time. We haven't had a Rainmaker yet. So we'll see what they want to decide on, but you know, it's I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, thinking about how we talked about previously when you are thinking of counter picks, you know, say you want to pick a counter pick that the other team that counters a weapon that the other team only plays. Like you can't really do that in this case because both teams in this case looks like they have a really like wide weapon pool and they can all kind of switch around weapons where needed. So that makes it a little bit more difficult. Maybe, you know, Intimidation Factor is wanting to pick out a map and mode that they just personally feel most comfortable with.
Yeah, and it looks like they are going to be choosing Clam Blitz on the Reef, which again, I think I do like this map mode combo. I don't know how I would play it against InkSync because I feel like this is one that they probably have played and practiced quite a bit, being a more competitive, viable map and mode. What do you think?
Yeah, this map and mode together has really proven to be a really competitive map and mode, and it's always seen in map lists for like higher level tournaments, and I think it's so good because like the Reef in general is really good because if you can get that bridge control, whether you have the bottom control or not, if you have bridge control, it can really show how well your team can get a push going, and holding that area will really like just kind of trickle onto the other areas of the map. So that's really a good competitive part of this map and mode together.
Yeah, I will say sometimes it's so hard to defend a basket when, you know, 3 enemy players are up there by car and just you don't know where they are and just kind of hiding and you're just throwing bombs, throwing point sensors, and you're like, all right, I'm doing everything I possibly can. We'll try and get it. But I think this will be a good one because I love watching Clam Blitz. I think it's so fun.
Yeah, it's Clam Blitz. It feels like, I mean, we saw it in the last set that we got to watch. Clam Blitz can be so chaotic and so fun to watch because anything can happen and anything can just in an instant can just switch to one side or the other.
That's right, and let's get started. Again, Intimidation Factor going to need the win if they want to stay alive. If not, they are going to be facing Kingmaker in the bronze match, and InkSync would be moving up to the finals to face Fonda Frights. Like this comp that I like the double slosher choice from InkSync.
Yeah, an Explo paired with a machine or just a slosher in general can be so deadly. So I agree. I really like that weapon combination from InkSync. And then it also, each team has a Nautilus. So I think that's really interesting too. I'm excited to see how that plays out for both of them.
Yeah, I agree. And right now, that's going to be a pretty maybe early score. And it looks... Oh, no. It's Claim's on the wrong side. I thought Intimidation Factor is already at the basket. Not quite yet. but it's hard when you have a power claim that far back, because again, you're just spotted. You really need to kind of rely on a jump at that point. But Inksync doing a really good job just applying the pressure. They don't have any power claims formed right now because this Intimidation Factor team is just by their basket.
Yeah, Intimidation Factor having to back up so far. I mean, we're seeing Scrub here use these missiles, try and get some members of Inksync to get pushed back. It looks like Mask did really good job at following through with those Scrub's missiles to get those 2 picks. So that's exactly how you want to play missiles and use missiles. So now Intimidation Factor has 23 clams at the ready. They are going to go ahead and score a power clam. And let's see if they can get any other follow-up clams in.
Yeah, we'll see. They were able to get 1, and it looks like unless an all can get there, that might be it. Yep, that's going to be it for that push. 2 specials ready on the side of Inksync. They're going to use 1. They are going to use a rain as they are continuing to try and push up, but 2 players are now going to go down on Intimidation Factor as Guigas is going to push up. Looks like they don't quite have a power claim. Nobody has it picked it up, but throwing claims to Guigas, K is going to be helping them out, but unfortunately Guigas is now going to go down, and it looks like Trell is alone as this Intimidation Factor they'll try and get some map controls so they can potentially push a claim up.
Yeah, this is that bridge control I was talking about a little bit earlier. Intimidation Factor doing a really good job at holding the bridge. I mean, with a Nautilus like Arwen, just holding that bridge like that can be so deadly, and you do not want to approach it. So I love the way they're holding that, and they are able to use this Inkjet and get a power claim in to get another push going. Yeah,
I love what Arwen did there. Got the power claim, tossed it forward, was able to use the Inkjet and allow one of their team members to score. Very good play, and that got them all the way to 50, so they're sitting in a pretty good position since we have less than half of the time remaining.
Yeah, less than half the time remaining, and now Inksync, we're talking about that bridge control. Inksync is the team now that has the bridge control, and they have 19-20 clams at the ready. So with 2 down on the side of Intimidation Factor right now, this could be the moment for Inksync to get a push going, but Arwen was right there to be on that Inkjet landing, and Arwen got to flank around, get this pick on Jimmy, and just continue to cause a bloodbath here. Arwen getting a pick on Trell. Also, Arwen is doing such a good job with this Nautilus.
They are, and yeah, members of that Inks, look, they're still up there by the basket. This Inksync team, they were probably planning on using that pity claim that they had to jump in. I'm sure that was their plan, but Intimidation Factor saw right through that and were able to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, great plays from Intimidation Factor, and I was gonna say, was that Arwen? Yes, it was, on the Inkjet, getting that pick on the power climb on with Jimmy, and right now, Intimidation Factor using their armor, gonna try and push up with the armor. It looks like their junior did go down right after they armored, and we're seeing Arwen here trying to keep this power climb. It's just Arwen up. Arwen is gonna have to play this really safe as they are the last member up. Really smart jump back. They know in the last 50 seconds of this, they need to get ready for defense, as Inksync does have the potential to score and then get going.
Yeah, and that was so close for Inksync. They probably needed that. I don't know how many they would have followed up with since they only have 9 at their disposal right now, but they're still trying to push up. They have just about 30 seconds left. Guigas is going to be trying to form a clam pretty soon, but it looks like K has a power clam, is now going to have to push up. Trell's going to be jumping in to join them, and they have 2 specials ready, so this could be a really good push by Inksync. Let's see what happens. 3v3, gotta avoid that Inkjet though. Kay is gonna be taking her time to try and just get some more map control, but these it's just so hard to push up at this point as Kay's now gonna go in. Unfortunately can't throw the claim in time. 3 players are down. It looks like Intimidation Factor will get their first win of this set, but that power claim is still there, and now it's gone.
Wow, Inksync there right at the end. Kay was doing a really good job. We got to see their point of view. They were holding the bridge with the clan. They were waiting for their teammates to come up, waiting for specials to get a push going. But I think Intimidation Factor just recognized, hey, we know we need to play defense here. Let's just sit back here at our basket, play defense, let them come into us. And that's exactly what they did, and they played that really well.
Absolutely. So this is going to be Inksync's first time to get a counter pick, and I mean, Splat Zones Gobi, Tower Control Macklemore, that really worked out for them. So Claim Blitz Reef, that was Intimidation Factor's mode. They They really liked it. And again, I'm glad we haven't seen any sweeps yet. So again, moving on to game 4, can Intimidation Factor get the reverse sweep and move on to the finals? I'm not sure.
Man, with the way they played that, we're gonna have to see. I mean, it felt like, I don't know if it was them just being really confident on that map and mode. You know, maybe the mode switch up too. We saw zones the first game, we saw tower control the second game. Maybe Clan Blitz is InkSync's, you know, mode that might be their weakness. So we're gonna have to see as we go into this next one. We do see the counter pick come out too from InkSync. It looks like it'll be Splat Zones on Snapper Canal.
It will be, and this is a hard map for me personally, because it's hard to find like what's my side and what is the enemy's side. I feel like there's so much kind of like neutral territory, and it's really it's like anybody's map, I guess. Anybody could be absolutely anywhere on this map, and you just have to be aware of your surroundings 360 degrees.
That's something that I actually have a hard time with too personally, because there's the two sides of the map, but anyone could be anywhere. Like, anyone could be sharking somewhere on one of the sides, anyone could be sharking on either of the snipes, either of the street areas. Like, it can be really hard to make sure that you have your team, not only you, but your team has that awareness to make sure you have all these areas cleared and that you're holding them. So it can get really chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely can. And I know for this stage, I've had my fair share of dives into the water of trying to make certain jumps or trying to avoid certain weapons or enemies. But, you know, this one's hard too, because there's kind of this slick spot on top of the zone that people don't really like to camp out on, but you just have to be aware of who's right around that corner.
Yeah, there are players who can be either sharking that, using that as a wall almost for defense, or even like sharking on the wall of it and just popping out ready to get you. So that's another point that can be really tricky to be watching too.
And our teams are ready for game 4. So again, InkSync wins this. They will move on to the finals. Intimidation Factor needing to win to stay alive. Here we go.
Okay, and as we're seeing both the teams come out here, the main switch up I'm seeing is there's a bamboo on the side of Intimidation Factor. Scrub, unfortunately, on that bamboo immediately goes down right as I called that out. And then the other side, we're seeing, I believe that's Jimmy on the Firefin splatter scope.
Yeah, Jimmy's been playing all sorts of different chargers, and having a suction rush on Splat Zones is going to be really key. Intimidation Factor going to get a pretty early cap, or going to get a nice respawn cap, I guess, as InkSync already got down to 81 since they capped it pretty quickly. Now Intimidation Factor going to be getting some map control, and it looks like Zanella is now going to go down to Jimmy's Firefin, and can InkSync regain control of this map? Let's see. Jimmy's suction rush will help. Is it going to happen? I think it will with this rain especially. InkSync now has control, but again, it's so hard to just like spot players as Jimmy is now cornered and goes down, 2 players down on the side of InkSync.
Yeah, this is that chaotic part of Snapper Canal Splat Zones, right? There's all these angles, all these sides of the map that you really have to make sure you're watching, and your teammates are calling out to you. You're aware of where everyone is. A lot of chaos happening here in the first, minute of this match. The zone swapping back and forth. It looks like Intimidation Factor does just need to cap it to get the penalty points over to InkSync, but InkSync did a really good job at stalling that out, just waiting a minute there to get the pick on Arwen, and now, with no penalty points, InkSync here starting to count down their points.
That's right, and getting down to 69 and then some. 2 players are down on InkSync, as Guigas is going to win that nice 1v1 against Mask, is now going to Inkjet, but is going to go down to Scrub. And Intimidation Factor now will take the lead just about 2 minutes into the match, and nobody's past 50 remaining yet.
Yeah, no one past 50 here. It looks like maybe Intimidation Factor finally able to break that 50-point marker down to 48, but with two of them going down, InkSync finally able to have Jimmy perched up on this mid area. This is a really, really dangerous area for a Charger to be watching. This Charger, Jimmy, has all angles right now, and InkSync has no penalty points, so they're sitting really, really good here as they have control of the zone.
Yeah, InkSync in a good position to take the lead, and it looks like they do as Trell... Oh, I was going to say a nice pick, but that armor from Intimidation Factor, it's so hard when you're Kenza Sloshing Machine. Trell got a splash down and get a nice pick there while on Zanala, but is going to go down to Arwen, and man, it's so hard to face armor. Like, after watching all of that and watching how well Trell did, this armor is really helping Intimidation Factor.
It really is. The armor timings,
Nice.
the timing peaking for that is really, really well. Arwen here doing exactly what Arwen does, using this inkjet to get 2 picks and allow their teammates to paint around them to get the zone. And now, I mean, each team keeps having minor penalty points because each team is able to swap and get the lead. Now the lead switching over to Intimidation Factor. With no penalty points, so they are counting down right now, and InkSync has to get in a position here to get some picks and maybe get some specials going to get the zone on their side, but Mask here flanking around and getting this pick. You know, maybe even able to get a flank going.
Yeah, let's see. Mask is now going to be chasing down Jimmy. It's so hard not to get caught there. They see Jimmy and Shrell. Can Mask get a pick on one of them? It's so hard to fight a 2v1, but Scrub is there to help, but Guigas was there in the zone, and I mean, Intimidation Factor, they have it all the way down to 13, which is great, but based on how back and forth these matches have been going, I don't think any lead is safe at all in this match.
Yeah, it really doesn't feel like one team or the other is like gonna really dominate because like it just keeps going back and forth. It feels really balanced. I mean, right now, InkSync here gonna take the zone again. They don't have the lead right now, but they do have the zone. So if they can set up really well here in the last 40 seconds of this, Jimmy getting a snipe on Scrub on these angles that he's able to hold in this mid area. And there's 3 down right now on the side of Intimidation Factor. This is a great position for InkSync to be sitting in right now in the last 30 seconds of this.
Yeah, and especially the map control that they have right now too. It's so hard for these Intimidation Factor members to kind of push up, especially as Guigas and Arwen, their inkjet skills are absolutely incredible. And InkSync is now going to take the lead. Are they going to win this match to move on to the finals? And they do.
Wow. So InkSync able to take this game. They are going to take the set now 3-1 to Intimidation Factor. Okay, even though we were saying right in the middle of that, even though Intimidation Factor did lose this match, it felt so back and forth. It felt like anything could happen.
Oh, absolutely. And that was such a good set too. All 4 of these matches were just so close. And I can't imagine how these players are feeling too. And so InkSync gonna get the set win. Intimidation Factor is going to be moving on to the bronze bracket where they're going to be facing a very scary Kingmaker team who, they probably thought they were going to go to finals, being 7-0 facing a 4-3 team. So they're going to be facing a very hungry Kingmaker team.
Ooh, so that means on stream right now, we get to see Kingmaker versus Intimidation Factor. Is that right, Falco?
That is correct. That will be coming up. We'll let our players rest for a little bit because Intimidation Factor, they just played. It looks like they're coming back in the lobby, which is great. I'd be willing to give them a break if they wanted to. But while we have kind of our intermission right now, let's talk a little bit about something that's happening tomorrow, and that is the Spawn Point Shopping Spree Tournament.
Ooh, okay. So, Falco, you're not playing in it, right? But you're commentating, correct?
That is correct. I will be commentating. I will be actually commentating the very first set, which will be in about 12 and a half hours from now. So I got to make sure I get some good rest and everything. But yeah, if you guys don't know what Shopping Spree is, it is a tournament that Spawn Point is putting on, and it allows you to manage the best team possible, best weapons possible with a certain dollar amount limit where each weapon is assigned a dollar amount. So, you can't have your K-Gal, N-Zap, Junior, Neo Splash comp that you love. You got to kind of divvy it up a little bit, and it's going to be really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. I get to play in it tomorrow, so I'm really excited for that. I left it up to my teammates. I was like, okay, I can play these weapons. you guys pick out our comps. I don't know what we play. So that's gonna be so fun to not only like. I think the really really good point of this tournament is the meta right now is so it's like K-Gal, Squeezer, Armor, Splash, like you said. It's just like the certain meta that we have. So going into this, it's going to be so fun to see how people play non-meta comps and see how they do against each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Now our teams for the bronze matches are joining in, and here's the fun fact that they don't know which map and mode that they're going to be playing first because we only advertised for the first 2 sets. So they will kind of be surprised and hope they're ready to play. Let us show you what we're going to be playing. Let's move on here and reveal the first map and mode combo. It is going to be Piranha Pit Tower Control. So some more tower control action, and we haven't seen Rainmaker yet. I don't think anybody's too disappointed about that. But Piranha Pit Tower, it's hard because the tower, like, you're never safe with the tower.
Yeah, Piranha Pit Tower is definitely something, all right. It's like, once the tower gets past that first checkpoint, and then there's that awkward, I don't know what you call it. It's like an awkward, just corner area that the other team's spawn is right there. It can get really dangerous and really hairy, and just like, it can be really difficult for the other team to get to the tower, or it can be really difficult for the team pushing the tower to push it past that area. So it can get really, really interesting.
Yeah, it can, and it's just a hard one too, because there's a lot of turf on this map. There are so many different areas where we can kind of go that aren't really in like a place that kind of rides a tower. Like, there's literally an area on this map called Useless. So it can just kind of depend. But we're gonna have to make a new lobby because I think we accidentally readied up on a 4v3, and I have a feeling that the 3 team would not be too thrilled about that playing in the bronze match. But we're gonna get all these players back in here pretty shortly.
Yeah, I think this is actually a map and mode that it hasn't been in comp a lot, but I feel like I've been playing it kind of more recently. And it can be just really, really important to make sure that your team, when you're coming out from spawn to defend or start trying to push in, everyone's not scatterbrained. Everyone has to be on the same page and making sure that everyone is pushing the same area and is on the same page. So that's something that we're gonna have to watch out for and see how these teams play that.
Yeah, and I mean, Kingmaker, they know, like, both of these teams. So I don't want to say just Kingmaker, but like Kingmaker and Intimidation Factor, we've seen how well that they can coordinate and play together too. And I think these checkpoint special combinations, are going to be really, really key. And especially with brushes kind of using the ramp too. I could see them really using the ramp and kind of jumping down and brushing everything that is in their sight kind of at mid, which I would love to see that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that for Piranha Pit in particular, like tri-sloshers, brushes. On those ramps can be, like, if you don't recognize that one of them's there, or even if you do, if you're just trying to kind of poke at them, they can just easily just drop down on you and just get a pick on you immediately. So with three brushes, that sounds kind of scary to come up against now that I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, and every team here in Friday Night Frenzy has witnessed it and noticed it firsthand too. So it's it is very hard. But if we saw Flounder Frights do it, and now Intimidation Factors hoping that they have their chance to do it too.
Yeah, with the way that we got to see both of these teams play in each of the last sets on stream, it's making me really excited to see okay, we know what Kingmaker is going to have coming out here. They have Bob on the Kensa Jr. and then the 3 brushes.
Yeah.
And they all play their chaotic, methodical way that they play, and it works out really well for them. So what's Intimidation Factor's counter going to be to that chaotic way that Kingmaker plays? I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, that's true, but it looks like Bob is not going to be playing in the set. It looks like JoJo is now in, and
You're right.
we've seen JoJo use a Neo Splash, which having a Suction Rush can really, really help out this Brush team. But Intimidation Factor, I mean, I want to see an Inkjet versus Inkjet, Arwen versus Hammer. I like just go at it. I think that'd be so great. But again, our teams are ready, so let's bring you the first match or first game of this bronze set. Kingmaker versus Intimidation Factor. Again, best 3 out of 5. Here we go, game 1, Piranha Pit Tower Control.
Okay, so we're seeing the teams come out here, and Kingmaker, of course, coming out with that triple brush comp, but that looks like JoJo will be on the Kens 52, so I think that'll be a good, you know, support to these 3 brushes. And then on the other side, I see an Explosher, a Splat Roller, and a Kensa Pro paired with, I believe that's an Armor and Zap. Yes.
That is an early tower, kind of goes to the side of Kingmaker, but I think that was just more of like they happen to land on the tower. Sometimes that just kind of happens. But right now, again, Zanola really trying to get some of these brush players and able to get a few as Kingmaker gets the tower to 90 and Zanola's still alive, has a splashdown ready, and that is going to be really nice against a brush team. When these brush players get so close to you, you got to use that splashdown to stay alive.
That's true, and it can be a little bit more difficult compared to a shooter as a brush to cancel that splashdown. So that's a really good point, and that could be really, really useful. But it looks like Kingmaker here on the tower, starting to push it to this first checkpoint. They haven't quite got past it yet, but they are doing a good job at getting the points down. So we're seeing JoJo on that Kensa 52 riding the tower, juggling it through all these chip damage coming out from Intimidation Factor, and at least getting it past the first checkpoint. Sometimes you have to make that call, hey, I'm probably going to go down here, but let me at least try and get it past this checkpoint, and that's exactly what JoJo did.
Yeah, and now 2 players, 1 player down on the side of Intimidation Factor. Kingmaker got it to 70. Again, the first checkpoint in this on this stage, it's pretty early, especially relative to the second and third. There's a pretty big stretch between those next 2. So it's going to be pretty hard to push up. But now 3 players are down on the side of on the side of Intimidation Factor, but they kind of, or I guess it was on Kingmaker. I got confused because Intimidation Factor now has a lot of map control, and Zanola now getting the tower past the first checkpoint, but Paolo's going to be pushing up, and everyone stayed alive there between the armor and the baller pop. That was really interesting, but Intimidation Factor gonna win that 2v1 and now take the lead at 64.
Yeah, Intimidation Factor, they knew that they got past the first checkpoint and they got the lead. I love the way that they didn't rush into that, into Kingmaker's spawn area and die there. They waited a second there to get a few more points and get the lead with that. But they do have 2 members that did go down, so we're seeing Mask here. Right now, Intimidation Factor has a lot of this right area map control, and that's going to be really important for them to make sure that they hold it as much as they can. So I love the way we're getting to see Mask point of view here, juggling this tower area, trying not to die, trying to counteract these brushes and use that range of the Kensa Pro.
Oh, and a really good movement there by Mask, avoiding the Tensa missiles and avoiding the brush. Going to stay alive, trying to take down Hammer now, but it looks like this Kingmaker team getting closer and closer to their tower, to their checkpoint, or to their 70 lead, I guess, where they had it. But it's going to be really hard. About 2 minutes left. Paolo going to be staying alive using this baller, and now going to hop up towards the tower. Just going to sit there, giving Kingmaker the tower. Now going to drop down 3-on-3, as again, it's just kind of a battle that at this point is going to favor Intimidation Factor.
Yeah, with Intimidation Factor having a decently sized lead compared to Kingmaker, I mean, they know that they don't really need to push the tower too much. They just kind of need to make sure that they're having map control. That way it's making it difficult for the brushes to be able to move. And they're doing exactly that. And I love the way that they're playing it. They're trying to play safe. They're trying to make sure that they don't go down. And just kind of juggling the tower in mid constantly.
Indeed, and we have just about a minute left, and no team has gotten to their second checkpoint yet. And Intimidation Factor now has some map control. Mask in a pretty good position. Unfortunately, can't get any splats while they're there. But this Kingmaker team on the tower now, and they're going to have a few of their teammates go down. But JoJo's still alive, pushing to past 60. Can JoJo stay alive? Paolo's now there to help, but Mask again in a very good spot. 2 players down. Mask's going to get on the tower, but Hammer going to jump in. Hammer going to go down. Just Maddie who's alive, who's behind that ramp. Maddie is going to take down Zanola. Maddie is now going to get up on the tower, but This is do or die for Kingmaker.
Oh my gosh, this is just classic the way Kingmaker plays that chaotic distraction jump-ins. Oh, it's so crazy to watch, and it's really fun to watch because if they play this right, it can definitely work out for them. So there, we see these constant jump-ins. We're seeing Pello having this baller on tower, trying to juggle it. We saw the Booyah Bomb also come out from JoJo, so we can see they're really fighting for this and really trying to get the lead here. They only have 4 points till they get the lead, and as we go into the last 5 seconds of this, they are on the tower. But it looks like Intimidation Factor is just dropping on the tower. That's a complete wipe on Kingmaker, and Mask is able to just safely drop on the tower and get that. That was so chaotic.
Oh man, Intimidation Factor with that win too. Yeah, the last minute and a half of that match, absolutely crazy. But like you said, the Brushes had to do everything they absolutely could do. That's gonna give Intimidation Factor the first win of this set, and it incorrectly went to Kingmaker, so we gotta swap those there. But we'll get that situated. But right now, Kingmaker are going to be getting their counter pick, so we'll see which one that they choose.
Ooh, okay. I have a feeling we're gonna see some Clam Blitz. I'm just saying.
Just say you think Clam Blitz?
Yeah. It seems like Kingmaker's tried and true counter pick is Clam Blitz, so that's my guess of what they're gonna counter pick.
You know, I can get behind that too. I like Clam Blitz. But I think you're onto something there. Yeah, that's a good point. And let me change the score here. Let's move this down quite a bit. I think Intimidation Factor should have a score. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good idea.
Okay. And there we go. They have a score now. And it looks like their counter pick is going to be what kind of worked for them before. It's going to be Muscle Forge Clams. That again, that's going to be something that we saw Kingmaker do a really good job with, and I think they're hoping this will be in their favor, obviously. But I mean, this Intimidation Factor team, they seem to be ready for anything that comes their way.
I know, that's what I really like about Intimidation Factor is like no matter what map and mode combination comes at them, it feels like they have a really good counter to it. And like we were talking about when they were first seeing Ink they can switch up their comps like no problem to no matter what the map and mode is. So I think that's really important for them, and not letting things like a counter pick phase them is really good of them.
It is, and you know, if you're Intimidation Factor, you're thinking, okay, Kingmaker, and here's the thing, Intimidation Factor, they had the opportunity to watch Kingmaker play this exact map and mode combo. So I don't know if they, you know, were taking notes. I don't know if they thought that they were going to be facing Kingmaker, kind of taking all of that knowledge in, but we saw Kingmaker just be very aggressive with their pushes, and unfortunately it didn't work out most of the time for them when they played this map mode combo. But if you're Intimidation Factor, you just have to be ready for anything.
Yeah, you do have to be ready for anything. I mean, going into this too, they know how Kingmaker plays. It's triple brush, you know, going into it, seeing how well they did in that first match. I think, you know, they could be going to this feeling pretty confident, but, you know, we have to remember this is the map and mode that Kingmaker did a really good job on previously in their last set. So, and also they are bringing back, it looks like they swapped out JoJo for Bob. So Bob on the Kensa Jr. will be coming back.
Yeah, Bob is back, and I do like the comp from Intimidation Factor. Not much range there, but you do have a lot of paint and just kind of a lot of support material.
Yeah, a lot of support material, a lot of paint, and if you're able to outpaint those brushes so they can't move around, I think that's really important to note. They have double armor too, so if all these brushes are going to be jumping out at them from ledges, if they have armor, that's going to play out really well for them.
It is, as we see two members of Intimidation Factor go down already in a power claim formed by Kingmaker. They're going to be running up. Paolo's going to drop on accident, I believe, as Paolo's going to be pushing up, avoiding that splat bomb. Now going to be ballering in since there isn't much paint that's there. Just going to wait there, and that ball is popped, and now that is the first score for Kingmaker.
Paolo doing a really good job at just really fastly recognizing their baller was shredded by the other team and just able to score that power clam. So though they didn't get any other power clams in to follow up that and score, this is a good tactic for them to score and then have this mid control, because just like this, Hammer is able to get another pick, gets that pick on Mask, and then is going to Inkjet. So with the constant picks coming out from Kingmaker right now and the pressure from the Inkjet, they're doing a really good job at regrouping themselves in mid, trying to get clams in and getting ready for a push.
That's right. Now, Kingmaker, they do have the map control. We do see a power clam on the side of Intimidation Factor. It's going to go down, and they still have their pity claim, but this Kingmaker team, look, Bob is flanking up the side there. They don't have any power claims formed quite yet, so now the battle is back at mid, but 3 players are now down on Kingmaker, as it looks like Intimidation Factor will try and get some map control, continue to push up. Scrub has a power claim, but is now going to trade with Maddie.
Yeah, a lot of chaos going on in mid right now, and with Kingmaker having scored only 1 power climb, you know, anything can happen in the next 3 minutes of this match. It's Intimidation Factor's turn now to get control of mid, and look at their clam count. They have 25 clams at the ready. That could be so deadly if they're able to get all these clams in. It looks like they are going to have their armor go off and maybe potentially try and get a push going, as they do get a pick on Paolo. That pick and that armor could be really, really detrimental for them to getting their power clams in.
Oh, and Rissa, here they come, but it looks like also members of Kingmaker are coming too with their specials, but they had 3 power claims ready, as Mask is going to try and keep these alive and throw it forward, but it might be too late, as this Kingmaker team is now respawning and has this basket better protected too. But man, Intimidation Factor, they had 30 points worth of claims ready.
Yeah, that had so much potential, and they still have their, looks like they're still trying to juggle 2 power clams. Mask actually able to push up here and just score this power clam really flawlessly and easily, and does their teammates, it looks like, was able to get a few clams in to follow that up. And right now it's just Hammer up on the side of Kingmaker. Mask here trying to score a few more clams in under the basket, but is called out. Actually, I didn't even realize that Mask went up and used their Booyah Bomb to just continue the push going that they had. And finally, I love the way we're seeing Mask just kind of juggling that bridge area.
Yes.
Jump in coming in, also from Intimidation Factor, and getting another claim in. What a crazy lead that they have right now.
Yeah, absolutely a wonderful push. And if you're Kingmaker, that basket stayed open for an eternity. You know, it's always the worst when they score in your basket and you're like, please just close, please stop scoring. This has been going on forever. But right now, Kingmaker with just about 1 minute remaining in the match, a little more than that, still looking for a great opportunity. They do have a lot of map control at mid, so they're going to try and push up just a little bit, build their specials. They don't have any power claims ready except for Pity, I don't think, but these missiles are going to have to push them back just a little bit. And again, these stalemates at mid are just favoring Intimidation Factor, but Kingmaker trying to push up just a little more, but Intimidation Factor playing just so conservatively too.
Yeah, right now, Intimidation Factor, as we're going to the last 40 seconds of this, they know that they just need to play really, really good defense if they want to win this. So with 2 of them going down, it's both of their armor players that do go down, as Kingmaker is going to push up through Bob's bubbles and score a power clam in. They have no more clams at the ready, though, so that's looking like it might be very detrimental to Kingmaker right now. The basket.
Yeah, so close. Paolo had a few claims, but unfortunately wasn't ready or in a position to score. Hammer is now going to grab the pity claim, as this is going to be Kingmaker's last opportunity to try and score. But now we see Intimidation Factor pushing up, not allowing Kingmaker to get in that position. And let's see what happens as we approach overtime.
Yeah, overtime starting now. Armor and missiles coming out from Intimidation Factor to just try and get some picks going and make Kingmaker move. Kingmaker right now with Hammer carrying this clam. They know that they need to figure out some way to get in. Looks like Hammer is going to throw off that power clam to Paolo, as Paolo sneaks in through Bob's bubbles and does score the clam. Hammer still in that Inkjet. It's going to be up to Maddie here to score this other clam in. And they do, and Hammer just has to get some of these clams in. They're trying
more
really hard.
clam,
They
just
just
one more
need
clam.
one
Hammer
more
going up the
clam
side.
to take the lead, and they do. Oh my gosh.
What a fantastic comeback for Kingmaker. That is textbook exactly what they needed to happen. Oh my goodness. I really like what Hammer did there. Hammer knew that she couldn't score where she was when she was at mid. She's like, okay, I need to throw this power clam. It's not going to happen for me. I need to do what I do best and use my inkjet and try and get some picks while my teammates go up and score. Oh my goodness. That was very, very nice for Kingmaker. And they've got to be feeling good because that was an incredible comeback.
That was, I mean, with the lead that intimidation factor had, that was literally intimidating to be going into overtime of that match because wow. And Kingmaker played that beautifully. I mean, okay, so Hammer inkjetted, and that's a distraction even if Hammer wasn't able to get any picks, but followed up by Bob bubbling perfectly timed. You know, the other team is looking at Hammer's inkjet, and then bubbles come in, so now there's two things the other team has to be looking at, and then Paulo able to just sneak in, grab that power clam that Hammer threw off, score it in, and then just the continuation of the distraction, the clams. Kingmaker played that so perfectly.
They really did, and it's so hard when you're down by quite a bit because you know that, okay, if we score, we just have one chance, and we can't throw power claim in and then not really follow up. That's not going to cut it. We need to make sure we are in such a good position. We need the player advantage. We also need clams to just kind of like spawn by the basket too in order to score. So it worked out for Kingmaker, and they've got to be feeling good to make this a 1-1.
Yeah, definitely have to be feeling good, especially with the lead that intimidation factor had throughout that whole match was really, really crazy. So that's one of those things we mentioned earlier on in the stream, how Clam Blitz can get so chaotic, anything can happen, and man, did we see that in that match.
Yeah, we certainly did. And now we're going to be moving on to game 3. We'll see what these teams want to choose. I believe we have the mode. Oh, I think somebody's subbing out right now. So that way we're going to be waiting on them because, we don't want to start with that 3v4 like we had before. But yeah, substitutions are allowed in between games. And the playoffs are the playoffs. We want them to be in a timely manner, but we will give them the time that they need to. So, but it looks like Intimidation Factor has made their counter pick. So let us see what they chose. And it is Splat Zones on Snapper Canal, which that is the same map and mode that we saw Ink Sync choose, I believe. Yes, we saw Ink Sync choose it, and we saw them win it too. So this one, I think Intimidation Factor, they want a little bit of revenge.
I think so too. I definitely think they want the revenge of this, and I'm wondering what their thought process is for this counter pick. I mean, what weapons are we going to see? Are we going to see Scrub back on the Bamboo? Is Arwen going to be on the Nautilus? Are there going to be any big weapon switch ups from the last time we saw Intimidation Factor on this map?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that we just don't know, and Kingmaker doesn't know either. The only thing that's pretty predictable is what Kingmaker's comp will be, I think, with JoJo kind of being the wild card. But Intimidation Factor, with whatever comp that they've been choosing so far, has really seemed to be working out. There isn't anything that's just like, oh, this match just wasn't for them based on their weapon choices. Everything that they've chosen, they've made it work. But our teams are ready now, so let's bring you game 3. This set is tied 1-1. Who will win this one?
As we go into this, we do see what weapons are coming out from each side, and then on the side of Kingmaker, we do see JoJo, that wild card you mentioned, gonna be on the Splash-O-Matic this time, as opposed to the Kensa 52. And then on the other side, for Intimidation Factor, we're seeing that Explosion come out, paired with a Splash, a Junior, and the Nautilus.
That's right. Again, it's just very, very painty weapons. Again, utilizing their armor too. 2 players down now on Intimidation Factor, as they are still trying to push in, but Kingmaker doing a good job just holding on to the zone right now. Arwen might be trying to flank a little bit, gonna kind of go behind the side. I think they're just kind of waiting for this Inkjet to land, but unfortunately for them, it looks like Maddie is gonna be coming up and getting that kill, and Kingmaker, they've got Intimidation Factor on lockdown. Look at where most of Intimidation Factor players are spotted using those Tenta missiles. They are pretty far away from the zone and close to their spawn.
Yeah, Intimidation Factor all coming from their spawn. We got to see that perfectly through Maddie's missiles, and as Kingmaker was actually kind of grouped up on that hill that we got to see Maddie on, Intimidation Factor kind of just snuck up and capped the zone pretty easily. We didn't get to see it from anyone's point of view, but they definitely were just able to easily push up. And look, Falco, there's your...
Yes, the Inkjet versus Inkjet. I love it, and Arwen wins that 1v1. That is what I was hoping for all along. Especially in a game 3 where this is so close. But right now, 52 penalty points on the side of Kingmaker. That's going to be hard to work with. Now, Intimidation Factor, they really want to cap this to avoid getting penalty points, and it looks like they do cap it as 2 players go down from Kingmaker.
Yeah, two teammates go down from Kingmaker. That's going to be 3 as Mass gets that pick on Maddie. And now with no penalty points, it looks like the lead is actually going to swap over now to Intimidation Factor. So really, really great lead swap. And right now, we are going to the last 15 points that Intimidation Factor has, and Kingmaker is going to have to figure out how they can get to the zone. Right now, it's a 2v2, and Kingmaker just needs to stall the zone, and they get a complete wipe. That was so clutch of Kingmaker right there to get that wipe, as there was only 5 points till Intimidation Factor took the match.
And what's so hard for Intimidation Factor is you have 72 penalty points, so now you're not even thinking of knockout, you're just thinking of, okay, let's stop them, and then kind of play very defensively, kind of just, you know, go for the picks, not really go for the zone unless we really have to. So that's going to be a little bit of a different play style for them, I think. But right now, in Kingmaker, they're doing a really good job, but this suction rush is going to be hard. Maddie's going to try up and get Arwen and the suction rush. It's not going to happen, and that is going to be a cap for Intimidation Factor. Look at these penalty points both of these teams have.
Yeah, both teams have, like, really, really decent chunks of penalty points right now, and it was so important for Intimidation Factor to get that, at least the zone cap, and give those penalty points to Kingmaker, because it was getting pretty close there. So even though right now Intimidation Factor does have 2 members down, it was just so important that they got that zone cap, because they have that much more time and penalty points to work through to be able to get the zone back on their side.
That's right, and now the zone belongs to Kingmaker, but they just lose it. And again, Kingmaker, they really want to make sure they have this cap in order to get rid of their penalty points and potentially take the lead. I would say if you get down below 5, you're going to get the win, but based on how this match is going, again, no lead is safe, especially on a very flanky map like Snapper Canal 2. But right now, Kingmaker really hoping they can maintain control, and it looks like they will, because there were 3 players down. Right now, nobody has zone. Kingmaker now has it, and 3 players are down from Intimidation Factor. This is great if you're Kingmaker.
This is so great for Kingmaker. They are going to go ahead and take the lead, and they just might be able to KO it, and they do. Just like that, they work through all their penalty points, and they are going to take game 3.
Kingmaker wins to go up 2-1. That is exactly what they needed right there. Man, that... all the penalty points too, and like I think zones is kind of unique in that way, where you get, I think, 3/4 of the penalty points instead of half, like Clan Blitz. So it's just so hard because there's so much back and forth. And what's interesting about zones is, like, since you're constantly painting over each other, there are so many specials that are being used, and it's just a battle to see who can throw all their specials at mid, it seems like.
Yeah, and this felt even like, it didn't really feel like it just felt really chaotic. Like, it kind of felt like, you know, if one team or the other was getting specials, it was just getting really chaotic, and just so most teams would generally have, like, okay, let's stay back, let's get all of our specials and then get a push going. But it just felt like each team was just getting really, really chaotic, and it was working for both of them throughout the whole match.
Yeah, it really was. But I think like the mental aspect of it too is when you get all the way down to about 5 remaining, like in a way
Mhm.
you're happy that you have such a like a comfortable lead, but that will only last so long. You would
Mhm.
much rather hope you can hold on for 3 more seconds to get the knockout, obviously, but that's got to be the hard part because you just turned a 1 minute match into a 4.5 minute match.
Yeah, that's very true. Just having that the the game sense and just kind of awareness to like, okay, if we just do this, we could just maybe KO it or, get these penalty points gone. But, anything can happen, and that's exactly what we saw through that match. Anything was really happening throughout that.
Yeah, that's true. And now we're going to be going to a stage that we haven't seen yet tonight. It is going to be. Let me make sure I have this correctly. It is going to be tower control on New Albacore Hotel. Um,
Ooh.
I think I can see the logic in intimidation factors thinking like this doesn't seem like a very brush friendly stage,
Yeah.
with all of kind of the leaps and jumps and kind of areas where you can see somebody from far away. So I really like this choice for intimidation factor.
I do too. That was my first thought also when as soon as you said what the counter pick was okay, not only does the stage New Albacore Hotel counter brushes, but the map and mode together, tower control and New Albacore, it just seems like really difficult for brushes to be able to just work around the wide open area that this map and mode has.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, there's just so much part of the map here too, where if intimidation factor they have the painty comp that they've kind of had before, they could really build their specials. And what's tricky about tower control on this stage is like you kind of approach spawn, but then you kind of pull away from it after your second checkpoint, so that can make it a little tricky, especially when you're riding on the water. So in a way, do you want armor? Yes or no? Do you want to get knocked in the water? No. Kind of pros and cons with that, but I'm excited to see what they choose.
I am too. That's really important to think about, triggerfish tower control, New Albacore tower control. That armor, if you are in a position where you're on the tower and have armor, you can easily get pushed off into the water. So this is one of those map and modes where, hey, maybe we don't need armor here. So we're gonna have to see, if these teams do come out with armor or not.
Absolutely. And our teams are ready, so let's bring you game 4. Kingmaker leads 2-1. If Kingmaker wins this, they will win the Bronze Championship. Intimidation factor needing to win to stay alive.
And here we go. We get to see the comps that each team is bringing out. So same thing that we've seen from Kingmaker. Bob back on that Kensa Jr. this time, swapped out for JoJo. And then on the other side, interesting pick from Intimidation Factor, getting to see the splat roller back, but also the heavy splatling with the Stingray.
Yeah, that's right. And right now, players from Kingmaker are pushing up pretty aggressively as they have the tower and using their specials, but there are 2 players down. Arwen going to get a pick there too, and it looks like right now Hamrose alone is now going to go down. That is going to be a team wipe, and Intimidation Factor going to want to capitalize on this. They will likely get to the first checkpoint, pretty easily, but I don't know how much they will have, how much time they'll really have to prepare for this Kingmaker team to kind of push up.
Yeah, this first checkpoint area, we see Scrub riding the tower here, and with 1 member down on their side there, you can see they're trying to get as many points as they can, but they do recognize that they did have 1 member down. Scrub gonna have to jump out here. Scrub, it's important to note, Scrub has that Stingray ready, so Scrub is gonna use that Stingray to try and just keep pressure on this tower area and make it difficult for Kingmaker to be able to push in. Arwen doing a really good job at getting that pick on Paolo and recognizing that the Stingray was there to get that chip damage. So that's going to allow Intimidation Factor to try and keep pushing the tower. But finally, Kingmaker is doing things that exactly what they wanted to do. They do get 2 picks down on the side of Intimidation Factor, and we're seeing Hammer here jumping on the tower to start pushing it.
That's right. Right now, they got to 91 before. They're going to be trying to push it a little more as Bob is going to be using the bubbles. One player's down now on Intimidation Factor, and it looks like Kingmaker has approached their first checkpoint, and they have a lot of room that they can work with. Two players down now on Intimidation Factor. Bob on the tower, Paolo and Hammer pushing up from to the top side. Arwen is there. Arwen is going to be pushing down, trying to get that, trying to get Hammer, but right now, Kingmaker has the lead and are going to approach their second checkpoint.
Yeah, Kingmaker on the second checkpoint here, and Arwen is trying everything they can to just kind of make sure the tower stops right there, and it's just going to be Paolo up on the side of Kingmaker. Paolo juggling that tower, doing a really good job at that. Paolo is so good at just pushing up when they need to, and then just allowing their teammates to follow up behind them. So they're doing exactly that. We saw Hammer jump in, and just this chaos of the brushes everywhere. Bob's bubbles coming out also is paying off so well for Kingmaker right now.
It is, and right now Kingmaker again has a two-player advantage. They will get to this second checkpoint. They're really going to hope that they can get past it. This will give them a much more comfortable lead, an entire checkpoint's worth of a lead, and they're doing a good job as they have three players who are just kind of like taking turns riding the tower. Hammer's going to stay on to stay alive, but now we have a 2v2. Zanala going to be pushing up, is going to take down Maddie, who is trying to flank, but this tower getting all the way to 30 and approaching the third checkpoint. Zanala has a splash on ready, will probably, unfortunately, go down as this tower gets all the way to 26.
Man, Hammer just continuing to get picks here as they're she's doing a really great job at guarding the street area and just acting as pressure and distraction and allowing jumps for their teammates. This is like the Kingmaker special of just the continuous jump-ins and pressure. And you know, I didn't think that three brushes would be that well on this map and mode together, but man, are they proving me wrong right now.
Yeah, and that team wipe was critical for Kingmaker because it looks like they are about to get this KO and win the bronze set.
Great job to Kingmaker. They just showed us that with the comp that they stay tried and true with the triple brush, that they can still pull through no matter what the counter picks are.
That's right. So this set is now over. Kingmaker, they are the bronze champions. Congratulations to them. They were down 1-0 and were able to win 3 matches in a row to take the lead over Intimidation Factor. Intimidation Factor, such a great effort for the team. Super fun to watch too. I had so much fun watching their team.
I did too. We got to see Intimidation Factor pulling out, you know, different comps that were really fun to watch how they played well together, and how they mixed it up. They switched up their comps for not only the maps and modes, but also, you know, just kind of differentiating of who they were playing against. And it was really fun to see how they used their comp switch ups to just counter everyone. And they just did a really good job. It was a real pleasure to watch them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And Rissa, we're getting ready for our final set of the night. It is going to be Flounder Frights versus InkSync. And I'm telling you, I'm surprised Flounder Frights defeated Kingmaker, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do against a very strong InkSync team.
I am too, just thinking about the first set that we got to watch against Flounder Frights and seeing them come back with the way that we got to watch InkSync. Just, I mean, both of these teams in their sets seem pretty like they had it together. They knew how they wanted to play together. So that just makes it so exciting to see how they're going to play against each other.
I completely agree. And I mean, InkSync, they're ready. They're here in chat. And Flounder Frights, I know that they were good. I don't know if they had quite a bit of time to kind of decompress from their set since they had 2 sets in between. You know, I hope they got a nice glass of water, got a little snicky snack or something like that. Maybe ate some early Halloween candy like I've been doing all month. But yeah, this one is going to be such an amazing set. And something a little different for this one, it is going to be a best of 7. So there are going to be 4. You got to win 4 matches, essentially. It could go all the way to a game 7. And the best part is neither of these teams know what we are playing first. So let us reveal that information to you because we are playing a mode that we have not seen yet. It is Rainmaker on Humpback Pump Track.
Oh, okay. We got the first Rainmaker game we get to watch on the stream tonight. And on Humpback Pump Track, what a great Rainmaker map.
Yeah, I agree. I saw this in Low Ink, I think, last week, and I was like, okay, yeah, well, and I already knew what my final first ones were going to be. I'm like, all right, I made a good choice. But the thing about Rainmaker Humpback Pump Track is, like, which way are you going to go? Are you going to go the long right way, or are you going to try and go up the left side? And it really just comes down to, where are my enemy players, and where are my teammates, and how can they support me?
Yeah, the left path, that really fast left path, that if you pull it off, and it can be a really great path to take, but you have to be really aware, is it a moment where you have the man advantage, the other team is essentially wiped, so you can just rush that left path, or maybe the other team is just completely on the right side of the map, and if you recognize that fast enough, then that taking that left path can be really detrimental, because the whole entirety of the other team has to completely shift sides of the map. So when those left side pushes are able to be pulled off, it can be really exciting.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it's crazy. We went through 3 sets without seeing a single Rainmaker
Yeah.
map being chosen, but I blame part of that on my map selection list. Maybe these teams were not very fond of it. I won't take offense to it though. I've already heard about it, heard the selection, and I think this one will be very good though. I'm excited to see Rainmaker being played finally, and it's on a game 1 too. It's not like it's a game 7 deciding match, even though I think this map mode would have that. I think it could have the quality of a game 7.
I think it too. Rainmaker Humpback is a great, in terms of Rainmaker, Humpback Rainmaker is a good, almost like neutral Rainmaker map. It can be kind of stally. It's not like Rainmaker Blackbelly, where if you get a wipe or 3 down, you can just instantly KO it. So this one has more area that the other team has to play defense, and I think it's a really good neutral Rainmaker map.
Yeah, I agree. Now, what are your thoughts for first pop? Is that something you really want to try and go for on this map?
I think that as if you're a team that is like more of an aggro team, like doesn't necessarily have a backliner, I think you do kind of want to get that first pop, because not only does that first pop give you map control with the pop of the shield, but you can actually push up off of it faster. So I think that on this one in particular, since it's such a wide open map, I think it is kind of good in general to get the first pop. But it can be good, like, if you have a Stingray weapon, to just kind of let the other team get it and let them grab it instantaneously, and then you can just Stingray to stop it right away. So it really just kind of depends on what comp you have and how you want to play that.
I like it, and I like where we're headed now because our teams are ready. So let us bring you the first game of Grand Finals, Flounder Frights versus InkSync, best of 7. Here we go.
Okay, so here we go. We get to see the weapons that are coming out from each team. And on the side of InkSync, I'm actually seeing Jimmy on the splatter scope with the Stingray, Kensa's splatter shot, and then a different switch up. We see a mini, so that's going to be double missiles for the side of InkSync. And then on the other side, we're seeing that shooter heavy comp that we've seen previously from Flounder Frights coming out and getting ready to actually, okay, as I'm talking about, it's just going to be Quesadilla up with that Kensa Pro trying to stop the Rainmaker, does get that flank off, and that could have been really dangerous for them, but thankfully Quesadilla was there to stop that Rainmaker.
Yeah, now Trell has the Rainmaker and is able to push it up, getting a pretty comfortable lead right now, but again, really no lead in Humpback is that safe quite yet, and it's hard because sometimes you just fall off the ledge too, and now Trell might be in a little bit of trouble. Did get to 41, so that's pretty nice, but gonna wait for the rest of their team members to come in, but looks like Crow is able to get that little snipe up close right there, as Flounder Frights, they are able to pop the Rainmaker barrier, and they want to get some more map control. They probably are not too eager to pick it up, but it looks like they actually do, and that's a good idea because there are 2 players down on InkSync.
Yeah, 2 players down on InkSync, and they forced Jimmy to jump back, and Jimmy actually goes down. Jimmy had that Stingray that could have been so detrimental to stopping the Rainmaker. So that was a really great pick, but regardless, the Rainmaker still goes down, and there's only one member up on the side of Flounder Frights right now. So Inksync doing a great job at playing defense here, stopping the Rainmaker before Flounder Frights got the lead.
That's right, and 44-41. This is what we want in the grand finals, just about a minute and a half into the match. And right now, Inksync has quite a bit of map control using their specials, but it looks like Flounder Frights also has 2 specials at their ready. One of their players goes down. It looks like it's Crow, as Quesadilla's caught in this mist and is going to have to try and change gears a little bit and also avoid these missiles. But man, those missiles are definitely going to hurt whoever was inkjetting. And Inksync doing a really good job pushing Flounder Frights out just a little bit.
Yeah, Inksync knows that they have that mid control right now, and that it's going to be something that Flounder Frights really needs. And as this team up happening, 2 down, Trell and Jimmy going to go down on the side of Inksync, and we can see just a complete wave of members of Flounder Frights right now pushing up into mid together. We're going to see Quesadilla use this Booyah Bomb and grab the Rainmaker along with that. So they only have 3 points till the lead. Let's see if paired with this Inkjet, they're able to push up and just get a few more points to get the lead.
Yeah, Quesadilla avoiding all these specials, staying alive, and look how much map control was there. Quesadilla staying alive, getting all the way to 21. That movement was great as Jimmy tried to take them down with the Ray, but now 3 players are down on the side of Flounder Frights, and that was exactly what they needed at this time. But again, we still have a lot of this game to be played.
Yeah, we still have about 2 minutes of this game, so being Rainmaker, anything can happen. If one tide turns the wrong way, you know, it can go one way or the other for one team or the other. So in this case, we're seeing Inksync pushing up. They do have mid control, and they are going to take control of this Rainmaker, though they do have to be really careful because they do have one member down. Jimmy going to use the Stingray to try and allow their Rainmaker carrier to push up through the Stingray, but with K going down here, that's essentially 2 members down. And it looks like, oh no, there's a DC on the side of Flounder Frights.
There is a DC, but we are past the time limit of where we can replay this match, so this will be played out since it was past 3 minutes into the match. So it's hard because Flounder Frights has the lead. Can they hold on to this lead? Being 1 player down. I mean, luckily for them, they have about a minute, but Inksync is doing a good job pushing up, and Inksync in a position to try and take the lead. It's going to be really hard for Flounder Frights. Can they do it? And Jimmy just knowing, okay, we just got to paint a very clear and defined path. We don't want to mess it up. I want to take it slow and steady, but they are pushing up, and Jimmy's going to go down. Flounder Frights might hold on to this.
Yeah, Flounder Frights doing a really good job at recognizing that they just need to throw bombs at this elbow area because they do get 3 down on the side of Inksync, and they are guarding this Rainmaker for their life. I love that Crow has grabbed the Rainmaker and is pushing it into mid. Even though Crow does go down carrying the Rainmaker there, it's important that they got it out of that really, really scary spot in their spawn. So now they need to regroup in the last 20 seconds of this match. They need to just keep throwing bombs, stalling it out, and just do their best to do this with 3 members only.
That's right, Quesadilla with a very nice push there. That could have been it because all these specials were being used. If you're Flounder Frights, just don't let it pop. Just don't let it pop at all, or let them pick it up. And Flounder Frights, oh my goodness, they were probably freaking out because I was freaking out for them.
It was too. As soon as I saw that. Oh.
Yeah, Flounder Frights getting that win, and man, that was really hard. And yeah, it looks like it was Chase who was the one who DC'd there. So Flounder Frights able to hold it on and giving them that first win. We'll give a moment to let Chase back in the lobby, and it looks like he's already there. But right now we're gonna wait for Inksync's counter pick, and we'll see what they choose.
Yeah, we will have to see what they choose. Are they going to pick something they've previously chosen as a counter pick? That's always the one thing I'm really interested. Are they going to go back to a previous counter pick that we've seen? Or, maybe they have a different pick that they want to have? So that's going to be interesting and fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Flounder Frights being able to kind of hold on that 3v4 at the end, that says something about those 3 plays who were playing. And maybe it was that map mode in particular that allowed them to kind of set up like that, but they did just such a very good job. And they didn't allow Ink Sync. They gave them a little bit of room because they know, okay, they have a little bit of room they can push up. We don't want to be too aggressive. We just need to be really conservative. But when they were pushing up just a little bit more, they were able to take out Ink Sync, and that's what happened.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts of defense on Rainmaker Humpback is if you can recognize, hey, don't just keep diving the Rainmaker in our elbow. If you could just sit back and throw bombs and just stall it out, eventually someone's going to make a mistake and die to a bomb, or, there's going to be a special that comes up that while you're stalling out with bombs, if one of your teammates has a special, you'll be able to just pause for a second and then just stop the Rainmaker. So I love that Flounder Frights recognize that, and that's exactly how they played it, even though they were down a member.
That's right, and take a look at this map, that map and mode that InkSync chose. We see, once again, for the third time, Splat Zones on Snapper Canal. They want to get this one out early. They're saying, okay, we want to win this one. We want to get back in this. We want to set the tone. And yeah, we've seen every team play Snapper Zones, I think.
We have! This is like I think this is the map and mode we've seen the most, if I'm not mistaken. So it's kind of fun to see all these different teams play it, but like all the different teams facing each other playing it. So everyone's different weapon comps that they have and tactics that they like to use. It's fun seeing how they all approach it so differently.
It really is. And I don't know if they'll play the same weapons that they played in their previous sets, because whatever Fond of Frights had for this one, it seemed to work. And I think it worked for InkSync too. I did like their choices. And I mean, especially how well they use their specials together. Maybe, I don't know if we'll see a Ray that they had before. That's really the only thing I can think of. But we won't have to wait very long because these teams are ready to play game 2. Let's go Snapper Canal, Splat Zones. Fond of Frights is up 1-0.
Okay, so we're seeing the weapons come out here, and we're actually seeing Jimmy coming back on that fire fin. I'm excited to see that because the way they can get Jimmy's up on that mid area with that fire fin can be so deadly for InkSync. And then on the other side, for for Flounder Frights, we are seeing that shooter heavy comp that we have previously seen. So we'll see as each team has going into the zone 3v3 right now with InkSync in control.
Yeah, and right now, it looks like InkSync has the cap. They allowed Fond of Frights to get it for just a tiny bit. It looks like Chase is going to go back and use some missiles. I love the T-Tech choice. Especially just missile spamming on this stage is really nice because you're going to be jumping from platform to platform a lot, and you never know where those missiles are really going to land. Right now, InkSync, they're pretty... I mean, Kay's just sitting here waiting, and they have the zone, so they're doing pretty well. But they are 2 players down, and they are going to get their points just about to 51 as Fond of Frights now gains control and now loses it. Wow, I spoke too soon, I guess. But Fond of Frights really just trying to find their way back into this zone.
Yeah, Flounder Frights trying to get into the zone again. They only have a 5-point penalty if they are able to take the zone back. So they have to be really careful. They have to make sure they don't go down. Missiles coming out from Flounder Frights. And along with the missiles, we see Chase push up through that and able to allow their teammates and help their teammates get 3 down now on the side of InkSync. So this is exactly what Flounder Frights needed. They're able to push up really aggressively. Quesadilla and K gonna go ahead and trade, and no penalty points. This is exactly what Flounder Frights needed.
That's right, and they just keep getting these picks on this InkSync team. Now they're still waiting to get the lead. Crow is going to be getting their suction rush ready, and will want to get in a good position to use it. And it looks like they are now going to be using it, pushing up, trying to displace Jimmy. That's definitely something you want to do. Displace the Charger, throw some suction bombs at them. And now Flounder Frights does take the lead, and Matt doing a good job just like watching all the flanks too.
Yeah, watching the flanks like this is so important. And while they were watching the flanks, actually, InkSync was able to kind of sneak in and get the zone for a minute there to give those penalty points back to Flounder Frights. So sometimes it just kind of comes down to those little moments where, hey, we're not going to hold the zone, but we just need to give the other team penalty points to just stall it out a little bit longer. So that's exactly what happened, and we're seeing InkSync here trying to pair up together. They do essentially get 3 members down of Flounder Frights, and we're seeing Trell paired up with their teammates here, forcing this last member to jump out. So finally, InkSync can take a moment here, regroup. They know that they have the zone, and Jimmy is posted up on this middle portion that I love seeing Jimmy posted up on because it can be so deadly.
It really is, and again, both of these teams so close, and if you're InkSync, you need to cap to avoid some penalty points, and you do, and you have 2 players down on Flounder Frights. Jimmy with a nice snipe and the lead, 3 players down now on Flounder Frights. Jimmy going to get in that position again, and Jimmy with a fantastic snipe. That could seal the deal for InkSync in this game, too. The rest of the members are going to be pushing up as Flounder Frights tries to get back into the zone. Will they be able to get a cap? They have just a little bit amount of time left, and it doesn't look good. Oh, they do! One player alive is able to cap the zone, and now they are wiped.
That was so clutch there. Oh my gosh. And now they are able to give those penalty points over to InkSync. So that's what I was talking about, those moments where, hey, we know we can't hold the zone, but we just need to cap it just this 1 millisecond to just give the other team those penalty points. And that's exactly what happened. So anything can happen as we're going into the last minute of this match. There's 2 members down of InkSync right now. Quesadilla going to use this bomb to help try and at least stall the zone and cap the zone around that. Now that's essentially 3 down on the side of InkSync as Flounder Frights right now is setting up to get in a position to hold the zone.
That's right, and Quesadilla, while you were talking, survived a Booyah Bomb that I for sure thought they were going to get shredded. And still alive, doing a really, really good job now. And I like Wegus on the junior. I know you're a junior player too, so getting these double bomb loadouts is always great. And it's really caught in a 1v1 right now, but look at all these bombs. Can they shred the Booyah Bomb? Not quite yet, but one of those players is going to go down as we move to the action closer to the zone. It looks like 3 players are down on InkSync. This could be the moment for Flounder Frights to come back.
Yeah, we're going into the last 10 seconds of this match here, and Flounder Frights has only 5 points on their penalty, so they know that if they can play this correctly, they just need to defend, they need to not go down, they need to make sure they have defensive specials ready. They only have 20 points left to get the lead right now. InkSync is doing everything they can to push into the zone. They do get 1 member down on the side of Flounder Frights, and just like that, InkSync is able to carefully push in, get that pick that they needed, and cap the zone, and InkSync is going to take game 2.
InkSync takes game 2 from a very aggressive Flounder Frights team. That was an amazing win for them, and basically went all the way to overtime and then the cap. Oh my goodness, this is a wild set, and I'm here for it.
I am here for this too. This is just, I mean, the score says it all. Right now it's 1-1. So the score really does say it all. And as we go into the next one, it's going to be a counter pick coming out from Flounder Frights. So having gone into that match that we just got to see, you know, I wonder if they're thinking anything about the way that, you know, maybe there's something they noticed about the way InkSync plays that they want to try and counter.
Yeah, maybe they didn't know that Guigas would have played a junior, because that is something that kind of surprised me. So they're like, okay, you know, if that's something that they have in their pocket, it's gonna be harder for us. Something we didn't really predict for. But yeah, this will be Flounder Frights, their first counter pick of this final series, and yeah, we'll see what they will choose. Just to kind of read off the ones that they won before. They won Anchovy Games on Tower Control. They won Tower Control on Anchovy Games, Clam Blitz on Sturgeon, and then the very first one was Splat Zones on Gobi. You know, we're not sure if they're thinking those right now. They could be, but I don't know how you prepare against these teams, either of them.
I know! This is just one of those things where it feels like either team can play anything. It's not like, okay, we have, you know, 2 members that strictly play this and this. You know, it's either team can play anything. So it really, I feel like it's going to start coming down to what map and mode do we feel most comfortable with, and do we feel like we can do really good on. And so that's what I think it's going to start coming down to as we go into the next few counter picks of this set.
Yep, I agree. And they chose Rainmaker on Starfish main stage. So we're seeing the second Rainmaker match of the night and the second of this set. So I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, and technically, so the first Rainmaker of the set was preset, so the teams had to play it. But this is the first set tonight that is actually a counter pick of Rainmaker, so that makes it even more fun, it feels like, because the team is going into it knowing that they want to play Rainmaker.
That's right, and we saw how dominant Flounder Frights was during the Humpback Rainmaker, especially surviving that 3v4 with about a minute 10 remaining. And there are kind of similar, I'll call them choke points in Starfish Rainmaker, similar to Humpback Rainmaker. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. You know, that the snipe area can get really hairy. And the one thing that's really interesting too is kind of how we were talking about how Rainmaker Humpback has that left path that you can take. This one is actually kind of similar to that, where Starfish Rainmaker has. There's also a left path that you can take through the snipe. So if you go up the other team's snipe and then make the jump over, that's a left path that could actually be really, really helpful and detrimental if you can get that push going. So that's definitely how that is similar to Humpback Rainmaker.
Yeah, you said it, and these teams are now ready for Game 3, so let's bring it to you. The winner is going to be one step closer to that Grand Final championship crown that they definitely desire, so here we go.
Okay, here we go. Game 3 of Grand Finals. Right now, we're seeing the comps coming out here. And on the side of InkSync, I like that we're... Oh, excuse me, Flounder Frights. I like that we're seeing the Kensa custom jet sculpture come out. That's going to be really, really good for them, for Rainmaker in particular. And then on the other side, for InkSync, a rare switch-up, we aren't seeing a backliner come out, which they usually have Jimmy run.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Kay almost got that 1v1 against Crow. Two players down now on InkSync as members of Flounder Frights going to be pushing up just a little bit. But again, the armor is so hard to face. And multiple team members can play Junior on this InkSync team, which is really nice. I just now realized that when you said it. And Flounder Frights has the Rainmaker, and they're going to be pushing forward, but it's so hard to push it in front of that mist. But Hosoke has it, gets the 70, 69, 68, and then is going to go down. And, you know, there's just a wall of players in that moment, and two players down now in Flounder Frights. InkSync going to try and get some more map control these last few picks. Can they push up and get more map control?
Yeah, it looks like they were able to get a third pick along with that, and followed by that third pick, getting that map control like you mentioned, and that's really important to make sure you're getting that mid control. It looks like they are going to grab the Rainmaker. Members of Flounder Frights are jumping back, and I love that they jump back, regroup, and are using the Stingray to just counteract the Rainmaker carrier, paired with Chase's Inkjet here. But with the Inkjet and the Stingray, two members of their team did go down. So Jimmy here holding the Rainmaker, going to push it through this choke area and get the lead and get a few more points along with that.
Yeah, getting all the way to 34, and we thank you, AutoSpec Cam, for pulling us away from that action. Had to quickly correct it. But that's a very good lead for now. And again, just with all these walls and this mist too, I love the mist choice from the side of InkSync. I think it's really going to work out for them. And who's going to win this 1v1? Looks like it's Guigus. And right now, InkSync don't really have a ton of map control, but it's hard for these teams to kind of get these player advantages that they really want. Right now, we just kind of see a stalemate again. Quesadilla has a Booyah Bomb ready, not quite ready to use it yet because they haven't really had an opportunity to push up. And it's just a battle at mid right now with halfway through the match.
Yeah, battle for mid, and Flounder Frights does have two members go down. That is so tragic for them because they had all their specials ready. They had the potential for a really, really big push to get going there, but InkSync able to get those picks, and Jimmy just rushing the Rainmaker forward. I love the fast play from InkSync there, recognizing that situation. Jimmy just grabbing the Rainmaker and rushing it, and Gigas here popping the Rainmaker, allowing their teammates to jump in while they are inkjetting. So that inkjet is a distraction, and Jimmy is right back to grab the Rainmaker and get even more points, get their points all the way down to 11.
Yeah, now that is the comfortable lead that you want if you're InkSync. Before, when you're at 30, it's like, that's good for now. now, but we want to be able to push it up. And they're really getting some more map control. But right now, Quesadilla not letting K in and is going to try and get all these 1v1 wins. Rainmaker's now going to reset at mid, but it looks like Instinct still has a little bit of control as Flounder Frights tries to push up. But look how many specials are ready for Flounder Frights. They had all 4, but the Octa shot went down, so now they're down to 3. And we'll see when they try and time these 2. They don't want all these to go to waste.
I know, they keep getting in these positions where they have their specials ready, but then Instinct just comes in and just kind of pushes right into them and gets the picks on them. So then they aren't even able to utilize those specials that they had. So Instinct is just doing a great job at just pushing up, acting aggressively. Trell getting this pick on Crow with the ledges, with this machine, and Trell gonna push up through this left area. This is that left area that I had mentioned as the match started, but guess what? Gigas was right there. I think that was Gigas. Or Chase maybe, to get that pick on Trell as Trell pushed up to that left side. So Instinct knows that they have the lead. They are sitting really comfortably in mid, and the longer that they hold the Rainmaker, the harder it is for Flounder Frights to be able to get the Rainmaker.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, but now might be their chance because there were 3 players down on Insync as Flounder Frights is now going to push up and paint, but they have less than 30 seconds remaining until overtime. Chase is now going to go up to an Inkjet. Looks like Quesadilla grabs the Rainmaker, going to use the Ray to help support them, and they do have a lot of map control, but they need to get to 11, which is so far. They need to be very careful with their positioning in their picks, not get too greedy, and there are 3 players down now. It looks like it is just, I believe it's just Guigas now. Can Quesadilla survive? We're in overtime. Are they going to be able to get the lead? Can they do it? And they do!
Oh my gosh, that was such a Rainmaker moment. What a good job for Flounder Frights to just holding off there for just a millisecond, getting that final pick, essentially a complete wipe on Inkzig, and then pushing in right at the perfect moment. Wow.
That was absolutely incredible, and they were so careful with their movements too, and like not a lot of death between the 2 teams there, just a lot of back and forth with specials and map control. So both of those teams, I think, were very, very careful when they chose to push the Rainmaker, and that's what I love to see.
Yeah, both teams were really careful, and like the whole time we saw Insync with that crazy lead and just doing exactly what you want to do, just making sure that you have mid control, that you're constantly in control of the Rainmaker. But man, what a Rainmaker moment there, as Flounder Frights was able to really quickly recognize they had the advantage and take advantage of that and push up and get the lead. That was amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And it's kind of funny because Inksync, they were very quick for their counter pick, and they chose tower control on Mako Mart. Again, we've seen this one a few times too, and I love it.
I do too. And we got to see, it was them earlier, right? They did a really good job on this. They got a KO, was that correct?
Yes, that is correct. That was their game 2 when they went up 2-0. So this one set them up pretty well to get into these grand finals, and you know, I'm thinking they're definitely going to want to get a win here to even this out at 2-2.
Yeah, I am too, especially with the way they played on it earlier. It seemed like they had a really, really good setup. They knew exactly what positions they needed to take, and they probably are really comfortable on this. So definitely this counter pick makes sense to me.
Yes, I agree. And again, these teams, they're pretty quick to kind of ready up. We have been playing for, we've been casting for about 2.5 hours now. So it's, I could see maybe some fatigue setting in, but both of these teams have had actually a break too, which is good for them. Again, I hope they were able to kind of stand up, stretch, eat plenty of Reese Cups and Snickers for Halloween. Again, I'm just saying that because that's on my mind right now, but... but yeah, these are such good games.
They are, and I love, especially, I mean, the score is 2-1. Anything can happen. Best of 7. Oh, both teams are readied up here, so we are going into game 4 of this set. And with the way that these teams have been switching up their weapons, let's see what weapons they come up with.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, especially for Ink Sync, and it looks like, yeah, we don't see a junior there. We see double Kenza weapons too on the side of Flounder Frights. I like that, but I think what we see here for Ink Sync, that is like their Ink Sync comp that I know and what they've tend to do very well with, and I love Flounder Frights' comp. If we were doing shopping spree, that would be like a solid like $35 right there.
It would. It's interesting to note too. Actually, Flounder Frights has this is the second game they played with no armor. So I think that's really interesting to note too. And we'll have to see if that works out for them as they are going to be the first team to take the tower. Oh my goodness. I was going to say one down on each side, but now there's 3v1, so Ink Sync doing a great job of getting the picks that they need, just letting Flounder Frights take the tower, and then they were able to just drop in on them, get the picks, and now Ink Sync carefully painting up here. We're seeing K painting up, knowing they need to get specials ready so that way they can take mid.
Yeah, that's right, and it looks like right now Ink Sync able to push the tower just a little bit, but it doesn't look like anybody's on it right now. Just able to ride it and then had to hop off to maybe get some picks, get some specials there. And now, again, just kind of a battle at mid, but right now it's favoring Flounder Frights as they had 2.5 players go down, one just respawned, as Chase is going to continue this lockout, and Flounder Frights is going to be on the tower, approaching their first checkpoint. Will they get there? Let's see. And they do.
Yeah, they do get there finally to this first checkpoint, and we're seeing Hose sick. They're juggling the tower best they can. There's 2 down right now on the side of Ink Sync, so that's really important to recognize the advantage of that situation. And with Hose's Stingray coming out on tower, they tried and they knew that they had the advantage, but they were picked on the tower, unfortunately, as they were in that Stingray. But Chase is right there to keep pushing the tower through the second checkpoint. We're seeing jumps to the tower come in, and they are so close to getting past that second checkpoint. They do just that with only 2 members up. Crow here leading the tower, and points are just continuing to go down right now for Flounder Frights.
Yeah, and Flounder Frights, even though they keep coming in waves, it's working for them because they just need to get, one more point. And you could say that, they were never going in at 4 strong, but they did exactly what they needed to do to get all the way down to 11. And that can just kind of work in these clutch moments on like tower control, Rainmaker, stuff like that. And they were so close to that third checkpoint, and I think if they would have gotten past it, it could have been a KO.
Yeah, with the way they were getting the jump-ins, Flounder Frights, in this match in particular, doing a really good job at getting continuous jump-ins and continuing that. So, great job for Ink Sync for stopping that, and now Ink Sync being the ones that are trying to push the tower. They're doing a really good job at waiting out that Stingray. Trell having to back up here, wait for their teammates, wait to regroup, and just try and hold this left tower. Just holding areas like that can be really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have about 2 minutes remaining now, and Ink Sync, they had an opportunity, it seemed like, but kept going down to a few of these Flounder Frights members. And right now, Flounder Frights, again, they have a pretty comfortable lead. They just want to get these picks. They might want to push the tower a little bit, but they're sitting in a very, very good position. Chase is doing such a great job to kind of getting a few of these picks, but is now going to have to avoid this Inkjet as they missile, and yeah, avoid that Stingray too from Jimmy, and a very, very nice pick from Jimmy. And Flounder Frights just continues to have more paint at mid, but it looks like Ink Sync is making a push now with 2 players down on Flounder Frights.
Yeah, great job of Ink Sync for getting those 2 pickets and recognizing that they can get on the tower. So Jimmy being the one riding the tower, armor coming out right now from Ink Sync, and we can see Jimmy backing up. Probably was going to get in a position to use their Stingray, but their 3 teammates went down. Jimmy, though, on the splatter scope, holding this position, getting 2 picks while he's at it. Wow, that was impressive.
That was very, very impressive. As this tower is now going back to mid, that's not really what Ink Sync wanted, but Jimmy did exactly what he had to do, had to jump out and get those picks, or else he was just going to get splatted, being kind of a frontline charger at that point. And now Guigas is going to be riding the tower, is going to have to jump off to avoid this Ray 2. We'll probably get ready to Inkjet right here, and it's going to be trying to take down the Ray, but it looks like Crow was right there, ready to take him down. We have only 30 seconds left, and Ink Sync, they're trying everything that they possibly can do to get past this checkpoint and continue to push up, but it's just not working for them right now.
Yeah, it is. They're just having to play this really carefully and make sure that they don't go down. Jimmy has that Stingray ready, but Jimmy has also been the one who's generally riding the tower. So we're seeing Jimmy just kind of trying to play this safe, trying to get back on the tower as it's coming down this ledge. And he is going to get on the tower, but they have to play this so carefully as we are going into overtime.
We are in overtime now, and we see a Ray. It's going to be so hard. One of us going to have to jump off and then jump back on, but it looks like one of the members was ready. Chase was able to hop on the tower, giving Flounder Frights the win.
Man, I feel like I could see it in that last portion there in overtime. Jimmy knew that, hey, I have a Stingray too, I can counter it, but there didn't have quite any teammates there to jump on the tower in their place. So that was a really tricky situation for Inksync to be in, but really well played from Flounder Frights, saving that Stingray for that overtime portion and just being able to jump on the tower through that Stingray.
Yeah, absolutely. And just that one push from Flounder Frights kind of towards the beginning, again, really, really helped them out. And it's hard at that point because when you get so close to getting past a checkpoint, there's always just some special that gets in the way and kind of prevents you from really making the push you need to do. And it's hard, but Inksync, they're going to have another opportunity here. They're going to be choosing their counter pick, and we'll see what they choose.
We will, and it's important to remember, so this is a best of 7, so Flounder Frights, if they can win this counter pick, they will take the set, since this is a best of 7. So Inksync really has to think carefully about how they want to play this counter pick, because if they still want to be in this, they have to win this game.
Yeah, they have to win this game and then potentially the next 2, but you know what they always say in sports is one game at a time, because game 6 and 7, those don't matter until you win game 5. That's really got to be what's on their mind right now. And right now they're kind of, I think, getting together to decide what they want their next map and mode to be. And I believe that they have made their choice. So let us see what they chose. And I believe they're still deciding. Okay. And they have it ready, so let us reveal to you that one. That one is going to be another tower control match. We have Skipper Pavilion tower control.
Oh, this makes me excited because this isn't seen a lot in comp, but I am a tower control skipper fan, and I feel like there's not a lot of tower control skipper fans, but I'm so excited to see this in grand finals right now.
So what do you like about it?
I don't know, something about it, like it feels like the path is kind of evenly distributed. It feels like, you know, you can't necessarily KO it really fast. I don't know, there's just something about that I like, and it's not too different, too, like, you know, Moray Towers is just kind of weird and awkward. It's not that type of awkward. It's a mix of awkward but still playable, I guess.
Yeah, what I like about this is you can really utilize the tower to get in positions that you normally can't get to, or that you can get to quicker. So because the tower kind of just goes up different platforms, so these players, when they hop off the tower, they're going to want to be playing on the offense, so they can then maybe set up for a flank or get some picks or somewhere where they can quickly recover to get on the tower, because there's just a lot of verticality in this stage.
Yeah, and you could definitely use that verticality to your advantage. Like you said, you know, if you have one person jump in and get on the tower, but then another person, while their teammate jumped in to get on the tower, they can push up and go up those levels to use that to their advantage. So as we see the teams come out here, we see what weapons are coming out, and very similar to what we've been seeing from both teams. No armor, once again, coming out from Flounder Frights. It looks like they know that that's been working out pretty well for them. And then on the other side, we're seeing Jimmy back on that splatter scope with the Stingray, and then the Kensa machine coming back out paired with K's dualies and the Nautilus.
That's right, and right now it looks like Inksync is trying to push up a little more. Ooh, and Hosuke with a nice pick on the Trell there, as it looks like Matt Crow might be getting on the tower, but it's now going to go down, and now 2 players are down on Flounder Frights as they also take down Chase, so members of Inksync are now going to get to the tower. Kay is going to be throwing some rain to help push them out. Jimmy is now on the first checkpoint, and he'll get past this one very, very smoothly, as the rest of Inksync is going to push up.
Yeah, the rest of Inksync coming in to jump into Jimmy on the tower. Jimmy did a great job at just using that laser on the tower to just put on that pressure. But finally, Flounder Flight's able to get 2 down on the side of Inksync. I love that. You could see they all called out where that Dooley's was, and they all teamed up to get that pick, making sure that there was not the potential for a flank to happen. So Chase using these missiles to start a push going for Flounder Flights. It looks like Chase is actually thinking about getting a flank in too while they're at it.
Yeah, that's right. When we see a Ray versus Ray, Jose is going to go down as they were on the checkpoint. Just got about halfway through it, but Mac going to try and finish it off. They're so close, just got to hide on the wall. Crow is now past the checkpoint and is going to be pushing up. Can they get past this 59? It's going to be hard, but we do see a Booyah Bomb that's going to displace some of these Inksync members, and Hosuke gets the lead for Flounder Frights.
Great tower juggling that we got to see from Crow, and then recognizing that Hosuke was there to ride the tower, get the lead, and now they are continuing to push the tower. Right now it's a 3v3, now it's a 2v3 with Flounder Frights. Ooh, Jimmy getting a really nice snipe there on Chase. So now it's just one left up on Flounder Frights, and Inksync did a great job at playing defense there. They're pushing up. They know that they need to get this map control to get their specials and also get the potential for a push going of their own.
Yeah, they certainly did, and getting that player advantage like that allows you to kind of control mid very quickly, and that's exactly what Inksync was trying to do as a few of those Flounder Fights players went down, and now they're going to try and get the person missling. Guiga's going to be inkjetting, throwing some suction bombs up there. 2 specials are ready for Inksync as they are now riding the tower and almost able to take down Chase. Tower is now approaching that checkpoint that they got to before, but it's so hard to control with this Flounder Frights team just like ready to push up and ready to strike when they need to.
Yeah, they are, and you can see that. I love the way we got to see Chase like play around their teammate Stingray, just not pushing up too much, but just allowing Chase to be a distraction with the Stingray, because that allowed their teammates to have time to come up. And now we're seeing 3 down on the side of Inksync. Trell gonna finally be the one that takes down Chase, but guess what? Quesadilla is right there to take down Trell, and now it's a 2v2. We're seeing trades happen all over the place. Crow once again on the tower while they're waiting for their teammate to use the Stingray. The tower just kind of stuck in this awkward position up on this level, but Crow knows that they can just wait here a moment and let the tower come back down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's really not much you can do there. And like what I mentioned before, since there's so much verticality in this stage, if you lose the tower and fall off, you just kind of gotta wait. You can't really get back on it very easily without making a very obvious roundabout way that you could potentially be spotted. But we have a minute left, and right now, Flounder Frights, they're still holding on to this lead.
Yeah, they are. They're doing a really good job at playing defense. I mean, look at this. They have 2 down right now on the side of Inksync, and they are just making sure that they collapse on the tower together. In the last minute of this, I love the way they group up and you can see they know exactly, hey, we need to group up and get these picks, and they're doing such a good job at playing together. And they are going to continue getting picks together and pushing up together. So Inksync, as we go into the last 40 seconds of this map, Inksync really has to make sure that they group up together, get specials, and try and stop this tower.
And 3 players are now down on Flounder Frights, and this is going to be the opportunity for Inksync as they have just about 20 seconds remaining, but that tower made its way up pretty far. Inksync gonna try and control mid so they have an opportunity to take the tower, and assuming this match goes into overtime, it's going to be one rough but exciting overtime.
Yeah, Inksync right now has 3 specials at the ready. You can see specials trying to get ready from the other side from Flounder Flights. Chase gonna use those missiles. 2 down right now on the side of Inksync. 3 down. It's just Trell. That's a complete wipe, and Flounder Frights takes grand finals.
Flounder Frights are your Friday Night Frenzy champions. Absolutely incredible performance, especially coming in at a number 4 seed. First you take down Kingmaker, then you win 4-1 in the grand finals. Absolutely incredible set from both of these teams.
Yeah, what a great pleasure to watch the way that both of these teams played throughout the tournament. And man, Flounder Frights really, I mean, that's insane. Coming into this knowing that you're the 4th seed and just coming out so awesome. You could see their teamwork just paying off so well. They did such a good job together.
They certainly have, and again, congratulations to Flounder Frights. Ending 4-3 in the regular season, barely making it into the playoffs. They had a win and in scenario, which can be really hard, but they managed to do it, and that was such an exciting set. I realized all these ended either 3-1 or 4-1, so I'm glad we had no clean sweeps. This was really, really good.
Yeah, that just comes to show like the way that all these teams played throughout the season and their scores. It just really showed like kind of almost how even that they were together, and it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And what an incredible journey this has been. I know, Rissa, you're here for the grand finals. You weren't here to witness all of the regular season madness, but it has been so exciting. And I just want to say thank you to all of the teams that participated in Friday Night Frenzy this year. You can see their entire roster, their record, all that good stuff here on the screen. And we have two InkSync logos again. I don't know how that happens. Wiggly Phantoms and InkSync, they like to swap spots. So let us give them, there we go, give them the icon that they deserve. There they are. They just wanted to be in disguise. But again, thank you to all these teams who played this year in Friday Night Frenzy. And a very, very quick thank you to all the commentators who commentated throughout the Friday Night Frenzy journey. We have all of you guys up here on screen and really appreciate all of the work that you guys have done. So thank you again, and thank you to my staff members that I will hide that Flounder Frights the logo. They just want to show that they won. they want to be there on the screen. But Bluely, Nino, and Delphox, thank all three of you guys so much for all the work that you've done. But this has been an absolutely incredible journey. These teams have been playing for 8 weeks every Friday. Isn't that incredible?
That's incredible. That's awesome. And this props to you guys for putting this all together and hosting this, because I mean it's really cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was my pleasure, and I hope you guys enjoyed Friday Night Frenzy, because there will be more in store in the future. So make sure you follow at FNF_SPL for more information later on when we release that. But for now, we're going to be signing off. So Rissa, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Of course, thank you for having me. This was a real treat, especially to be on for grand finals and the final matches, grand finals. I had a blast, so thank you so much for having me.
Of course, and you guys can find Rissa on Twitch at Rissa High, and is that also your Twitch handle?
Yep, Twitch and Twitter. Yep.
Or yes, Twitter. Yes, Twitter handle too. Okay, well, thank you so much. And that is going to be it for us tonight. It is almost my bedtime. Actually, it's way past my bedtime, but that's okay. But yeah, we're going to head out. So make sure to join the Discord too, !FNF if you would like to learn more. Again, we will have more information later about a potential future season with some exciting changes on the way. But thank you again. That's going to be all for us. I hope you guys all have a wonderful night.